For what? Now I gotta fix everything. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Icon now, let's fucking go, bro. What the fuck? You know what? Let's do this. Keep it up. It's fucking hot in this bitch, bro. And it's not because of you, Cole. Ain't no way this shit's. Bro said sorry. Alright, buddy. Damn, he unmuted. What you mean I unmuted? Was that a bad thing to keep me muted? Yeah, listen to me. Yeah. Alright. Alright, look here. Look. So what's the Invincible news? I mean, don't spoil it for me, but how crazy is it? Nah, yeah, listen to me, yeah. Crazy. Also, Americanos is like my favorite coffee. Now. Depressing. You never want to watch it again. So I guess someone important died. That's my guess. I hate when shows do that shit. Look at me, we're so different. We not scared to push boundaries. Like, bro, let everyone fucking live, gang. Like, it's not that serious. I want to enjoy a show. It's better when people die. You're the problem, bro. Tell you that right now. You're the problem. Face reality. All right, buddy. Someone's about to be in a... Are you in the toilet right now? Are we playing GTA 5 to feel better? To feel better. Man, you're really into that game. It's great. This is your first GTA game? I've been watching lore videos. And I think I told y'all this on Discord, but I've been watching like videos with like long... I'll show you. I'll show you my watch history on YouTube. So this is when I passed out, so you see a lot of fucking other ones here. But I've been watching videos like this. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, still the best Grand Theft Auto game. Fucking 3-hour video. And then I fucking fell asleep. But I like this. This dude's not. It's kind of funny, but I watched his. I played every Blizzard game ever. No, it wasn't Blizzard. It was. He played every Rockstar game. That's the one I watched for that. Another one. I've been watching shit like. Also, turn my mic down. Music loud? Oh, the music? You can hear it in the background? You can't. The music is loud anyway. Is it that loud? Like it's in the background. Are you still hearing it? So I shouldn't be hearing it through OBS because I have my earphones in and it's playing on my thing. Better now. Also, people at Canes love anime and chill, bro. Y'all saying it's mid, bro, but they dead ass love it. So like, what we doing here, man? What we doing? What we? It's a banger, cozy. I might have to come up. I might have to make a Canes and Chill song. Bro went there and played it. Nah, I didn't play it on the speakers. We were just hanging out in the parking lot. Um, because I made we have a coworker here there, and we made a TikTok for him. It's called John Core. His name's John. So that's been like a funny thing, whatever. But some employee there makes music, whatever. So I was like, oh look, I made this song. You know what I'm saying? And then yeah. I was hanging out with the manager there too, and the other guy was 27, bro. What the fuck, bro? Everyone was older than 17. Man, that's bro. Why you loved the song when it first came out? You're like my number one hater. I might have to come back with a banger. I might have to make another song. I'll put Cole in the future. Cole's gonna be my intro. I was lying, bro. Trying to be the cool. I honestly, dead ass. I am not trying to be that cool. Oh god, I'm just cool. Like that's literally me. Now I don't care. I never said. I know you didn't, Cole, because you're the GOAT, Cole. I love you, Cole. Cozy just being a hater. I know Cole still rocks out. What up, Zero? Bro said I'm a glaze. I respect it, bro. I respect it. I respect a glazer when he knows he's a glazer, you know? Glaze away. I'm doing great. How you doing? I went work out today. That was like one of the major things for me was to go in the fucking workout because I did not want to work out today, bro. I was so exhausted. I think I only slept like 3 hours because I didn't get off of work till like 12:30, and then I had work at 7. I didn't go to bed till like 2, 3. So yeah, but I was like, fuck it. I gotta lock in. I gotta really lock in with these YouTube videos because I've been promising YouTube videos for like, I think the last YouTube I made was like a month. I still have that Twitch video I have to fucking edit. Well, I don't know how to edit. Like, how do y'all think I should edit the Uno video? I have no, like, it's so hard to, I don't know how. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's so entertaining through, but it's like, it's also too long. So, like, I don't know. A new WWE game has something cool. Not the pauses.
Just get in the ring. Just get in the ring. Get in the ring. I'm just gonna get in the ring.
Oh my god!
You want to
Good prime.
Holy!
Get out fast.
I'm not gonna waste that damn.
Right here.
Oh!
Oh!
Get him.
James Harden
That's
for the
such
nine.
good
Don't even
advertisement.
with that, Rob!
Swing
You
it.
missed! What?
That's crazy. How did you like the John Cena thing? And the Logan Paul thing? Oh, don't even talk about me about fake ass John Cena, bro. Fake? What? You know what's also crazy? With my other job, is like telling them about my streaming thing because I was like a small streamer with like a lot of viewers, and then like not anymore. So it's so crazy. It's like I lived a double life. And then, you know, being a drug dealer. I'm kidding. I'm not a drug dealer. But also, I think that's like the biggest thing I wanted to talk about because I've been watching like a lot of videos like you deal Viagra. Drug dealers crazy. I be dealing vitamins, bro. Bro said he deals Viagra. That's the gooner. That's the gooner in you, Cole. That's the gooner. That's a gooner job to sell Viagra. But yeah, no, I was watching long form content on like consoles and like gaming, and like I was watching like here sounds better. Um, I was just watching like the release dates and like the events they used to throw, like with the Xbox event was crazy, and just like how innovative it is. But like, how much more innovative can you get? I feel like the last innovative game we're gonna get is GTA 6, and that's gonna cost $100 because as it should, you know. But like how, like, like growing up, and like yeah, I'm a little bit older than y'all, so like I grew up with technology, and y'all kind of did too, at some extent. But like, what is there to like, it's gonna it should cost 100 to be honest, bro. To be honest, it should cost 100. Of how big that game's gonna be and how perfect that game's gonna be, it should cost 100. That's the only game I would pay $100 for. But yeah, but like I'm saying, like seeing technology and gaming like grow fast and like living through it and through like the progression, like how much better can it get at this point? Like how excited can you get? Same thing with phones and everything. Is like you go from like 360p to 720p, and that was like the biggest thing. You know what I'm saying? Now we go from like 4K to Ultra 8K, which is like you can't even tell the difference because like we can't even see that you know what I'm saying? I don't think it went downhill in content. Because Xbox was, I mean, one of the pioneers for that, and that's why their shit like was pushing PlayStation to like make online stores and everything. I think online's fine. It's just I think that was a huge step. Like, that was just a huge, just like whoa, this shit could be bored. But I can see what you're saying now. I can see what you're saying. Like everything's online now, and like there's nothing physical to it. But in Madden, UFC, yeah, Call of Duty, yeah. But I mean, yeah, understand too is like how else would you play against other people? You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's one of the big reasons why that shit works, because you get to play with others across the world. So I think there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like now it's like what can you get excited for? I think the only exciting thing to look forward to is like virtual reality. You know what I'm saying? Eggnog. Wait, egg is something reality, whatever. Like that's like the next big thing, which I'm not really excited about. It's cool and all, but yeah, man. It's like that's what I was thinking about. It's like, cause I remember when the Xbox 360 came out, bro. That was like a big. I remember me and my brother put our money together, our Christmas money together to buy it over and over again. Well, people like shooting. It's kind of like Fortnite. They don't have fun to keep a person's interest in a game for a year, so they just say, "Hey, buy virtual currency." Yeah, unlike 2000, yeah. Yeah, the virtual currency is crazy. I mean, everything is. Yeah, I don't fuck with Call of Duty. I never really fucked with Call of Duty. I loved Warfare, and the story mode's good. Like I think I don't play Call of Duty, so I don't even know if there's a story mode anymore. But like, let's do story mode. You know what I'm saying? Like let's. Because I think that's another thing of Call of Duty 2 that was really good. It was like there were so many memes about it because of the story, you know. Yeah, and that's why I like Fortnite. That's why I would never talk down on Fortnite, because Fortnite will always just wrap me the back end. I've never been a shooters game. Me neither, bro. I always sucked at shooters. I only like zombies. I hated zombies because there was no point into it. You just killing hordes of zombies. Like you can't like free roam or anything. Remember I played zombies for the first time and I was like, am I stuck? Like we can't do shit. But I hear it sucks. I don't know, but the first Call of Duties did not suck, bro. Like I loved Advanced Warfare. Everyone hated Advanced Warfare because it was like space type or whatever, but I loved it. But Modern Warfare had a great story. Yeah, if you play online, I mean, that's the same thing with like Overwatch, you know, player base. Like, once you start tapping in the world that don't really go on Twitter or anything, you really get like a non-filter human being. You're gonna get those because they do not care if they get canceled or not because they're not on the internet. But it's crazy how like the PSP was so ahead of its time too, bro. I low key want a PSP still, even though we have the Nintendo Switch. But it's like, what can Xbox do to go from here? Like I feel like they're just gonna go to gaming PCs because it's Microsoft, and I think gaming PCs is the biggest thing. So like, why would they need a console anymore? Like the Xbox, revolutionary. You know what I'm saying? To compete with PlayStation, they took Sega the fuck out of there. But it's Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox. That's like the big three. But the Xbox and the Xbox 360, PlayStation 2 was just the, you know what I'm saying, just the GOAT of consoles. Xbox came along, crazy, just innovative. Xbox 360 compared to the PlayStation 3, which I don't think the PlayStation 3 sold that much. Then you had the PlayStation 4 or 5. Then the Xbox One. But even with the Xbox One, like, it wasn't like that crazy. Like, the only thing that was like big as an event was like the PlayStation 5 and just the way how it looked and everything. But like, now what? Like, does Xbox come with something new? I feel like it's just PlayStation, Nintendo. I picked up a couple more games this week. What games did you pick up? You know, there's something cool about just throwing in a disc and playing the game you want to play instead of downloading shit. What the fuck did you send me, Cozy? The Sad Life of Jimmy DeSanta. Was this Grand Theft Auto? Franklin is honestly a man. A GTV. Well, I mean,
your son, James. He's a good kid.
He's a good kid? A good kid? Why? Does he help the fucking poor? No.
you know how like, bro, Rockstar is probably the best gaming company ever, bro. It's crazy how many great games they put together.
He sits on his ass all day, smoking dope and jerking off while he plays that fucking game. If that's our
He's talking about Cole. Oh my God.
standard for goodness, no wonder this country's screwed.
Jimmy is the case of someone with no real direction in life, on top of many other things. When he was 12 years old, he went from being in a trailer with his family in the Midwest to being in a mansion under a new last name. And the fact the family had money, it caused him to lack certain skills he was supposed to develop at that age, being that he became used to relying on it. His time on the West Coast and in the Midwest before he was an adult.
Do you think these people script these videos and just read off like their paper? I would think so. It's so different for me because I don't script shit. I just be making videos.
He had to somewhat take in what was around him, from his household down to the things that interested him, while still being a loner. By the time 2013 came around, he was 21, but him being his age, he started to feel the pressure that came with it. Sadly though, he made it impossible to get things going on his own. For the fact alone, he spent too much time blaming his family. Everything was given to him up until this point, something he became used to. He was aware of the things he lacked in, but it didn't help other people in his family seen it too. Him being the only son in the family, Michael seemed to be the one to encourage him, on top of being on him. But from his upbringing, he always was aware of Michael and his mom's past, which is why it was hard for him to respect them, along with acting out. And Jimmy said all he wanted to be.
Molested is crazy. What the fucking game is playing?
He was accepted, even if he didn't have anything going on.
So, you gonna tell me about that job hunt?
Can you give it a rest? Do you really think this helps?
Hey, it's worth a shot, because nothing else seems to help.
Get a job. Don't play video games. Get a girlfriend. Don't smoke weed.
Well, maybe if you cut down on the weed, the job and the girlfriend might come a little easier, huh? And you wouldn't have so much time for games.
Michael's spitting right here, bro. Unfortunately.
You're so fucking judgmental, Dad. These are my life choices. This is my body shape. Learn to love me.
The elephant in the room here is that I'm supporting you. You're in my house, buying pot with my money.
Kids don't become dependent by themselves. You enabled me. This is on you.
Ah. Nah, fam. Nah, fam. You can't do that. Bro think he's supposed to be spoiled.
Fine, so I'll stop enabling. Again, how's the job hunt?
Why'd you even have kids?
But instead of trying to make way for himself, he plays like he was as far as when he's on the outside world. One of the first things he does on his own was finance.
I realized I don't need my dad to buy me a car. I can get my own financing. There's really amazing deals with 0 down and no credit check premium. Oh my god. I sent the games in Discord. Bet. Bro, it's been so long since I even played Grand Theft Auto 5. Bro, Stuart Little. Oh my god, bro. That's so old. Sega. Ice Age. Yeah, Vice City. I want to see how that looks on it. Dang, bro. That's like... How much was Vice City? $15? It's not bad. You ever played Destroy All Humans? That was a fire game.
Car after Michael refused to do it for him. His parents didn't mind getting Tracy a car for the fact they could trust her. Of course, Jimmy looked at.
Alright. This video does seem interesting, Cozy. I'm down to watch it, but I'm not going to watch it for stream. Because it's all about Jimmy DeSanta. And I don't give a fuck about Jimmy. Family Guy was the most expensive. How much was Family Guy? Bro, I don't know what it is. And Cole, I know you had love for this. 65. You bought a game. You bought a Family Guy game for the PlayStation 2 for $65, bro. Are you collecting it? I'm having a thing for old cars, bro. It's for PS3, everyone else. Why is it so rare? But yeah, I'm having a thing for like old cars, bro. Like something like, I don't know what it is with this, bro. It is kind of cool. I don't know what it is, bro. That's crazy. Oh, I know Simpsons Hit and Run gotta be expensive, bro. I remember.
Sorry for.
Wait. Simpsons Hit and Run. I thought that was Nintendo. I thought it was GameCube. Or maybe it's all for all consoles, maybe. So we played for GameCube. My cousin had it.
Interrupting. Don't you hate when ads do that?
Yeah,
Here's
bro.
how to get rid
You're
of them.
doing this right now.
My name is Abe. I was
Mouth washing kill count games.
Employee of the Year. Now I'm dead
I'm so confused. Why is it so much? Or maybe this is just the.
meat.
Pull a gun on me again and you're dead meat.
Is that Tremors? They have a Tremors game?
Might actually beat me. You really think so? Hell no. You're dead meat.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our...
Damn, it's an hour-long video kill count of mouthwash? You never I thought it was a Nintendo exclusive. That was my bad.
Our favorite horror video games. I'm Zoran. I hope this doesn't hurt, Gavoyich. And today we're about to get minty fresh and psychologically scarred with mouthwashing, released in 2024. The game follows a crew of space truckers on a year-long haul aboard the spaceship Tolpar, who unfortunately end up crashing. What follows is psychological horror in the truest sense, as you assume the roles of multiple ship captains and slip deeper and deeper into madness. Created by Swedish studio Wrong Organ, whose Swedish origins are a bit suspect.
We're a Swedish game company. We have like 2 Swedish people on the team.
Well, as it turns out, the founders all met at a Swedish game development school called Future Games in Stockholm. They were all in the same class for game design, where they created their first game, How Fish is Made, a game that used esoteric storytelling to explore grand concepts like the illusion of choice. For their next game, Wrong Organ wanted to try a more direct narrative structure, while still keeping things in their strange existential wheelhouse. A few key aspects were present very early on in development that included a sunset in space, retrofuturism, isolation, and non-linearity. Originally,
again, one of the great games I played in a long time.
Pitched as Twin Peaks in space, some other early media influences were Alien, Skinamarink, Event Horizon, and even the contained alcoholic madness of The Lighthouse. The game took about 15 months to make, with the core team growing from...
That's not bad. Damn, 15 months to make this shit? I mean, that is crazy, because when games just had this graphics, you had way more games. And I guess like that's a big thing now too, is like you're not getting games pumped out as much anymore because of how long it takes now to make games, because of the graphics and everything.
From 5 to 7 people during its production. That's it? All right. And with such a small team, everyone kind of had their hands in everything. And that's why when you look at the end credits, there's no specific roles for each of the members. They're all just members of Wrong Organ. The game was published by Critical Reflex, who's making a name for themselves in the indie horror space with games like No, I'm Not Human and Teleforum, whose sound design makes my skin absolutely crawl. Yep, there goes my skin. The game was released in 2024 to overwhelmingly positive reviews, and to an even more overwhelming amount of really good fan art. I mean, look at that one, and that one. Oh, that one's too sexy. Oh, that one's not sexy enough. The game has sold over 500,000 copies and garnered numerous award nominations, even taking home the Horror Game Awards Best Narrative Game trophy. So I think it's time to find out what this game's all about. But first, let me tell you about today's sponsor.
No one gives a fuck about sponsors, bro. Get your money, but get that shit away from me.
well-written story that slowly unfolds non-linearly. This element keeps you disoriented by jumping around time and shifting perspectives between unreliable narrators. And I'm gonna say it now, if you have not played it yet, I recommend experiencing it for yourself before watching this kill count. It only takes like 3 hours. In fact, it's short enough that James and Chelsea were able to finish it in a single live stream.
That's crazy. Yeah, we finished it before I had to go to work. And what, it was 12 to 8? 12. Damn, it took me 8 hours to finish that shit? Oh, no, I started late. I think I started at 3. I went live at 3. Or 4. I did it 6. I don't know.
It's a lot darker than I was expecting.
But we finished that shit.
And they don't mean that it's so dark we need a night vision camera to count all the bodies. This game absolutely wallows in the gray areas of human nature, diving into some heavy themes like capitalism, alcoholism, and even sexual assault. Yeah, not the carefree game I was expecting. But Mouthwashing is an absolutely shining example of creativity and complex storytelling that I have never experienced before. I, for one, cannot wait to see what developer Wrong Organ comes up with next. Will our 60 minutes with Mouthwashing be able to kill more than 99.9% of the crew of the Tulper? Let's find out and get to the kills.
Bro, we still have like, that was only 5 minutes of them. So now in the kill, I guess they explained all the kills.
The game begins in low resolution 4-3 space. Calming chiropractic waiting room music plays as text lets us know the Pony Express long-haul space freighter Tulpar and its 5 crew members are on day 147 of their 382-day journey. Any other info before we start?
I hope this hurts.
Okay. Oh, what have I gotten myself into? The game then glitch transitions us to the cockpit, 0 days before a crash. The computer instructs us to steer left of an orbital body. All right, seems easy enough. We'll just, oh God, this is already so stressful. With no other option, we steer right into a collision course with some monetary consequences.
4,000 credits docked from crew pay package for failure of navigational staff.
I didn't know! How could I have known? We're told to engage the autopilot, but it's locked. And since this game has no tutorial at all, I wasted 5 minutes just looking around, clicking everywhere before quitting and starting over, thinking the game was glitched. And then, after another 5 minutes of clicking and looking, I had a breakdown. That is until I accidentally pressed the S key and moved my character. I am such an idiot. We use our newly discovered legs to grab the emergency key and an employee ID for Anya, who kind of looks like Shelley
how long
Duvall,
that took
which
me
was
to,
completely intentional. As this game
get out
takes a
of that.
lot of inspiration from The Shining,
But
and
you
its
probably helped
abusive
me close these
protagonist's
security
slow
plate.
descent into madness. Back at the console, ooh, it looks like we can order a tab. And while we wait for our discontinued soda, we use the key to engage the autopilot. What? Oh, this is already so stressful. I do not need any more stress in my life. I'm already trying to teach my child not to bite. See this? He will not let go. No other option than to
That shit
press
probably
the
would've
big
took
red
me
button that should
forever.
never ever be pushed. We solidify our crash course and then head out into the endless corridors of the ship. We pass numerous safety posters featuring the Pony Express mascot,
I remember I
Polly.
read all
I love
them
the
bitches.
style of these retro safety posters. But I don't love that the corridors keep going and the posters keep multiplying until Polly himself makes an appearance alongside... Yep, crying babies. Crying babies,
That
and I
shit
hate
was
it. Things continue to
insane.
get creepier and steamier, but not like in, you know, like a sexy way. As we keep running and emergency lights come
Bro,
on.
really
Oh,
did
and
this
Polly
shit?
starts to look like a Child's Play 2 Chucky doll. Finally, we get to a locked door and... Horse Jesus!
Mouthwashing is very much more the psychological horror. It's the disturbing nature of the environment, less so like jump scares.
Which is probably my
Luckily,
favorite
the
type
screen
of horror.
flashes to white and
That
glitches
and
us forward
paranormal.
in time to 2 months after the crash. It's revealed that our character's name is Jimmy. Just Jimmy. He's the co-pilot for the Tulpar and is currently surrounded by the rest of the crew that survived the crash. And just like with James and Chelsea's playthrough, we're going to be providing the voices for this voiceless game.
I'll handle it. Hang in there, Daisuke.
But slightly less literally
That's the
goofy.
goat.
Let's see, who do we got here? There's perpetually worried
need a
medic
Daisuke,
Anya.
Are we
plushie.
doing the right thing?
Gruff mechanic Swansea, who's not too happy with the last-minute intern he got saddled with by Pony Express.
Then there's that teeny bopper thinking only with his downstairs long nose.
And that long-nosed listener who looks like Pulse's Ryosuke Kawashima is good-hearted but a little naive intern Daisuke.
The real problem is running out of toilet paper. Oh, fatal stuff, man.
I mean, he's not wrong. Anya suggests we get into the cargo hold to look for more supplies. But only Captain Curly has a code scanner that
Am I
can
tripping,
gain
or
access.
did they have voice
Jimmy
actors
then
in there?
declares,
I'm the captain now.
and we go in search of a
Or
code
did they
scanner.
not?
Nope, nothing in the strawberry meatball machine. And I love the kitschy 70s vibe of this common room. They're specifically designed to be in contrast to the cold metal exterior walls designed to mimic an old submarine. This idea was to highlight the absurdity of the design of the ship, where the company's idea of giving the crew comfort is always done in kind of a soulless, ineffective way.
Everything is supposed to be uncomfortable.
Exploring the room, we see it's coated in emergency foam that kind of looks like delicious popcorn. Yum, 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 yum. Oh, look, and Polly's here to give us some advice.
Polly says, another day in paradise. Yay!
Ooh, a fellow Phil Collins fan. I like you, Polly. We head down to the utility room to find Swansea just kinda resting his arms on his belly. He says the utility room is off limits, since it's full of that emergency foam
already
that
thought
kinda looks
Bro
like the
was so
stuff.
sus in the beginning.
If I breach that foam and break the air seal, it's lights out for all of us.
Oh yeah, we do not want that. I did not like that movie.
One of the biggest
The
plot
short
twists.
was much better. Over in the medical room, which was modeled after a dingy middle school nurse's office, ooh, complete with a middle school Zoran bedroom door vent. Hey, stay out! I'm playing Die Hard in here! A corkboard on the wall gives us a look at Anya's photography skills, as well as Daisuke's caricature of his boss Jimmy, aka Yimpy. Aw, that's like my Yames drawing.
That looks nothing like me.
Over on a bed, we see a badly beaten body from the game's startup screen. And this is the ship's original captain, Curly. No longer able to speak or walk, the only thing keeping him alive are his pain meds. Meds that Nurse Anya is too uncomfortable to give him.
You did make it through nursing school, right?
Okay, don't be a dick, Jimmy. Anya suggests we look for the scanner in the cockpit, and pads our ego a little to get us to do it.
You're so capable.
She also requests that we serve Curly his non-coconut based painkillers. So we click to open his jaw.
Yeah, this shit was.
I hate that noise. We give him the pills and are treated to a black screen with horrific audio. Oh, so uncomfortable right now.
Everything is supposed to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's what I want. Be uncomfortable. Get enough of that when I read the comments. We head back to the common room to talk to Anya, who's wondering why Curly crashed the ship. Because the game wouldn't let us steer left, lady.
Facts.
Anya wants to believe that there's still some good in old Captain Curly Q.
I have to believe that our worst moments don't make us monsters, Jim.
But the whole situation just doesn't sit right with her.
I'm still feeling nauseous.
Oh, I think you mean
You think they ever
nauseated.
make, like, a
See,
show or a
nauseous
movie
means
off
you
of
make
Mouthwash?
others feel nauseated. Ow.
Don't be that guy.
Don't slap me, slap Strunk and White.
I have.
He slapped a corpse. 2 of them. Anya then disappears. Spooky. And we head to the cockpit to search for the code scanner. All right, let's take a... Oh! God, did a Marshmallow Man fuck in here or something? Okay, no need for that black light on the floor. I can see all his fun fluff without it. Oh, that's the code scanner? Okay, well, we somehow managed to pry the scanner from the floor. Oh, and get the hell out of there. Somehow, everyone sensed we'd succeeded in our texted task and gathered by the cargo hold. Oh, and Daisuke's so excited, even his text is shaking. Don't worry, buddy, we'll open it. Calm down. We use the scanner to reveal the code. All right, 4517, 4517, 4517. And we plug it in. 69. Damn it! We then put in the right code and gain access to the cargo hold, which must have been full of chronoton since it jumps us back to 7 days pre-crash. The nonlinear storytelling was something narrative designer Johanna Kasurinen wanted from the start. After getting an overall story, she put all the plot beats and scenes onto post-it notes, so the team could visually see how and when the time jumps would happen, as well as shuffle them around and try out different orders. A lot of effort went into figuring out what character knows what at each moment in the game, and even more importantly, what the player knows as well, putting it all together like a big old logic puzzle. We've now jumped into the POV of the non-injured Captain Curly during his psych evaluation with Nurse Anya. Whoa, wait, she's the medic and the psychiatrist?
Pony Express sure knows how to cut corners, if nothing else.
Well, yeah, that's just good business!
Bulldog!
Anya must have been sick during the doctor-patient confidentiality lesson, since she shares results of Jimmy's evaluation with Curly.
I have found myself sexually excited by the sight of cartoon horses.
Hear me out. Huh?
It's because he's pantsless, isn't it?
Yeah. All joking aside, Anya is bringing up this inappropriate comment from Jimmy to her superior because it made her feel uncomfortable. Of course, Curly's response is just to laugh it off and say that Jimmy's being Jimmy, having been friends with him for many, many years. This kind of good intention downplaying that is unfortunately very common and very human makes him an enabler of Jimmy's actions, which is further proven when he jokes about it later with Jimmy himself.
I want to hear all about those cartoon horses. Now, is that something you were born with or a recent development?
All right, shut up.
I'm gonna say they really need an HR person on this ship. What about you, Polly? You up for it?
Polly says,
Well, that's even worse. Luckily, Daisuke's evaluation
Jesus.
is less brony-coded.
Brownie coated?
No, brony-coded.
But I want a brownie.
I know you do. They're in the kitchen, buddy.
Oh, okay.
Okay, not the ones on the top shelf under the lock. Those are my special brownies. They're just extra chocolatey. But it doesn't instill confidence as he describes his internship as
Awesome. Super cool and like totally awesome. Like really awesome.
Is he secretly a Ninja Turtle? Anya then gives Curly a note from Swansea with 3 exclamation points, meaning he's pretty pissed about something. So we take a look at our future bed and opioid addiction before heading to the much cleaner and calmer common room. The bright sky is in direct contrast to the orange sunset that is stuck on the screen after the crash, an image that helps separate the time jumps and symbolize the sun setting on the crew and probably their lives. We stop by the still empty coffee machine. Damn fine coffee you don't have here. We then go to the utility room, which has basically become an Ibiza foam party.
Oh, sorry. Let me help you guys.
Turns out Daisuke triggered some Demolition Man foam while trying to fix the use in case of an Alan Rickman attack vent. The foam is also blocking one of the 4 cryopods designed to save the crew if anything goes wrong. Daisuke was a last-minute add to the crew, having been forced to get a job by his parents, and Pony Express didn't bother adding another pod for his safety. Yet another example of the company's neglect for its workers and the underlying theme of capitalist ruin.
It's the idea of just being like a cog in a machine.
Man, that fucking ending of that fucking game was insane. But also, I think 15 minutes is enough when I already played the game and I already know what happens. Such a great game though. Damn, like all his videos are like an hour. Like, is it that much for? Damn, that's kind of crazy. Another small thing about Anya is her bed is by Polly Mascot, which has a movement sensor that makes noise when someone gets close. That also might be a way of her getting some defense from Jimmy. That's insane. Which gets broken by Jimmy later on. Damn. This game is deep as fuck. No mods, no items. The Noco count is like 33 minutes. Because I am that guy. The PSP documentary, The Rise and Fall of Sony's first portable. Why did it fall? Didn't they just not like... make it better? Put that to save watch later. The Red Ring of Death. Oh, that's on the Xbox channel. So this is the Xbox channel. Let's see what is going on with the Xbox? Do they even have exclusive games? Still kind of fire. They have Halo with Tony's. So Tony Hawk's coming out with a new game? What's their popular one? Minecraft Village and Pillage update launch trailer. Xbox Series X. Xbox One S. Xbox Fridge. See, I remember PUBG was like super big. Josh paying the 100 on this.
This new GTA 6 development leak is insane.
What the fuck?
This
wrong platform.
New GTA 6 development leak.
The controller vibrations are gonna be crazy. You acting like there's an strip club before in the comments. Oh my god. Interviewer, how realistic do you want GTA 6 to be? Rockstar, yes. We need a VR headset with GTA 6 on. That's insane, bro. That's hilarious. Minecraft Earth official reveal trailer. I don't know like how much the original unboxing Xbox One. $17 million views. Wi-Fi router versus mini fridge.
Let's suppose that you were able every night to dream any dream you wanted to dream.
10 hours.
And that you could have the power within one night to dream 75 years of time.
This is actually insane for a console.
And you would naturally, as you began on this adventure of dreams, fulfill all your wishes. But now let's have a surprise. Let's have a dream which isn't under control. And then you would get more and more adventurous. And you would make further and further out gambles as to what you would dream. And finally, you would dream where you are now.
Not gonna lie, it kind of cooks. It kind of cooks. I kind of cooked it, I ain't gonna lie. But a lot of people power your dreams. I think I have to power my bank account first. Almost 4 years ago, man. Time. Xbox. This is in my final form. GameCube. You took everything from me. Xbox Series X. I don't even know who you are. After these years, finally, the GameCube has evolved. Xbox ejected this. I can't let you do that, Dave. How do you want the new Xbox to look like? Microsoft, a box? Oh, look, Xbox 5. Absolute banger of a trailer, if I say so ourselves. Oh my god. Horizontal kind of Xbox, vertical console, Y box. I don't know why this one got the most views. 40 million is crazy. This maybe got more views because of was PewDiePie on, like, Minecraft was really popping. I was watching wrestling. Of course you were, buddy. We don't watch wrestling. Players killed 3 pillagers. The other one is a beast as well. The funky music really goes well with the massive genocide happening. I wish villages were that lively. Village and ads. Dancing, playing, lovely. Village in real life. Huh? Huh? Me and the boys when we find beans. The fuck is this?
Meet a digital bank account built for businesses like yours. With American Express Business Checking, you'll say goodbye to monthly fees.
This is the GTA 5 island in Minecraft Hardcore, with every building, every detail, all in survival Minecraft. I started by building the outline which barely fit in the biggest ocean I could find. This island is mostly made out of dirt, stone, and sand, and because this build is absolutely massive, I'll need about 1 million of each of these blocks, and I'm not even joking. The first item on my list is dirt. Let's see how far all of my dirt can get me. Yeah, that's not gonna cut it. So I think I have to build a dirt farm. This is one of the most complex farms I've ever seen, so I'm gonna need a lot of material. For example, it needs 4 Ravagers, because of course you need one of the deadliest mobs in the game for one of the most common blocks. So I know there's some Ravagers in my raid farm, so what if I just... Oh, snap. This is gonna be more than...
This is another saint of fucking Minecraft. That's crazy.
Difficult than I thought. So I'm gonna get other items first and then we'll come back to Ravager. I need 27 stacks of obsidian, 11 stacks of observers. I need over 400 hoppers and I don't really have any iron left, so let's build an iron farm. I'm gonna need 12 villagers for this farm, so you think that's enough carrots? You think? Now we just have to transport all of these villagers. No, what are you guys doing? I also have to build a honey farm and also this slime farm.
Why don't he just do it in fucking creative?
And while these are working in the background, I'll go get Ravagers again. Alright, so that's what I'm looking for. Oh my god. Come here, bro. Ah, good job, I have an entire inventory of those. I split this project into 4 stages. Come here, dude. Ow. Oh. First, the island, for which we need millions of blocks that I'm collecting right now. Then we'll build every town and village. Come on, bro. Oh, snap. Okay, we got the first one. Next, details like these trees made out of netherite or these cool power lines. No. Yes. No. Oh, what? Who's gonna win? And at the end, Los Santos, which is this massive city. Come on, yes.
Mid-Minecraft.
And the last one. Yes, we got them all. So I started building the bottom half of the farm, and it took me over 4 hours just to place those blocks. Now we have to transport them to the farm. Okay, now I'm taking damage. Oh my goodness. Oh no. Oh my god. Oh, we got the first one. So if I hide here, he should follow me and fall right into my trap. Please work. Yes. Oh no. Oh my god. Oh, we got him. We just gotta block this off. And the last one is almost here. Okay, how do we do this? Okay, no, I'm low and he's following me. Come on, no. Oh my god. No. Please. Oh my goodness, that was so stressful. Regardless of the incident, I managed to trap the Ravager. Then I built the rest, but I was very nervous to...
Like, what the f is this? Yeah. I think bro's just mid, bro.
That's because if I misplace anything, the farm would just break. But let's see if it works. Yes, let's go. Oh, that's...
How? How? And also, he's using a song that Chris Broad uses.
If I misplace anything, the farm would just break. But let's see if it works. Yes, let's go. Oh, that's such a relief. Now, because I don't want the GTA map looking like this, I'm gonna add some texturing, but that only adds more items to the list. For all the sandstone we need, I'm gonna use the sand dune, and while that is working, I'm gonna collect endstone using a pretty unusual method. Basically, when the wither is hurt, it gets angry, and when it's angry, it breaks blocks around it for us to collect. Oh snap, I'm getting low. Anyways, this method got me almost 2 shulker boxes of endstone, but I need over 20, so I don't think this is the way to go. So let's try mining endstone, but I don't think it's gonna be faster. It wasn't. This took me 30 minutes, and I only got 1 shulker box. Let's forget about endstone for now, and focus on the fact that I need 10,000 times more green wool than I have in my inventory. And this farm is not gonna get me all of it, so I'm gonna need to build this automatic wool farm. Now
what
we're
up,
gonna
Stink?
breed more sheep because I'm gonna need 140 of
played
them.
in months,
Now let's
so it's
actually
mid.
transport them to the farm. This is gonna be annoying. This part literally took me hours. Come on, yeah, it's fine. And to my surprise, both of these farms work. Very beginning of GTA story mode, and then once more in one of my favorite missions. I split this task into 3 steps. First, building a brand new island from all the leftover dirt. Now, to cover the island in snow, I'm gonna summon a bunch of snow golems. Come here, boys. And finally, build all the locations. The bank, the massive beaver statue, the church and the cemetery, and the rest of the town. Now, Sandy Shores, where the average net worth is -1 house. I actually had a lot of fun designing every build here, as I had to make it look intentionally ugly. The biggest challenge was the variety of blocks, which meant I needed to spend a long time collecting everything.
Escaped in suits made of body armor. The bank robbers engaged in a rolling gun battle with police through the quiet town's main street. Weasel News.
Turns out the house was owned by Martin Madrazo, a head of a candy cartel, and Michael gets a $2.5 million fine. With no other choice, he decides to go back to the criminal life he once lived, but he doesn't know how to make that money yet. This next part requires a ton of blackstone. So I got 100,000 tons of gold, yes, I calculated that, and replaced the filter item at the piglin farm to only get blackstone. Now we need red nether bricks, so I made a texture pack to highlight the fully grown crops to speed up the process. The crafting recipe for tinted glass is ridiculous. For every piece we need 2 amethyst shards, meaning we need to... We also need 3 shulker boxes of mud. Didn't know Los
Minecraft
Santos
W
was made of
facts.
mud, but we live
This
with
is
that, right?
insane,
Let's cue
bro.
the
Bro's
mud
on another
montage.
level.
Richmond, like the name suggests, is an area for rich people like the one Franklin has to take out. Frank shoots and he does not miss, but now he has to escape. The only way he can go is to an adjacent district, Morningwood. But we haven't built that yet, so let's do it quickly. Now, if you want to download this map or the ones from previous episodes, I set up a Patreon like many of you suggested. You can either purchase each build separately or join a membership to get exclusive rewards, like a private Discord server with me. Next, Franklin has to drive a stolen car to Devon.
You look hella bored, bro? Oh, I'm good. I'm not bored. This shit's like insane. Like, bro's not even in creative mode. He's making all this shit, like, all the dirt he needs. He made a fucking dirt farm, which is insane. Bro's just doing the most right now.
Last couple materials for this whole build. We need clay for bricks, calcite, and deep slate. A lot of deep slate. So now we just have to finish building the last couple districts. Next, the boys go to a ship on the Elysian Island to steal a container, but it's protected by guards. And in order to get it, Michael needs to plant bombs on the ship, escape, and detonate. While Michael is very carefully planting bombs, we're building it in hardcore. Finally, Michael makes it out alive and they blow up the ship. Now they need to take the container to the terminal on the other side to be able to get there. That is how that works, I promise. Now, Architect unalives him and runs with the blueprint, giving the boys everything they need to pull this core. The heist starts in South Los Santos. This is the second. I'll show you the sheer massacre that happened there. It didn't even matter how long this last part took because I was so excited to finish. The largest single episode build in Minecraft hardcore history. After over a year into making, will be done after placing the last couple blocks.
That's fucking insane. Bro built that shit in hardcore. You have to live on this game. There's no way. Bro built Fortnite chapter in Minecraft. Bro, that has to take so fucking long, bro. Bro getting paid though. This should have been Xbox One that was released in 2013. Xbox One bear. Xbox One has polar bear. Slimmer. Liquor. Sharper. Lego City, but Minecraft. Who's here after the series X reveal? That makes us happy. So glad to hear it. I don't know what the Xbox thing's gonna be. Unveil video. Oh, there we go. This is a 3-minute video on the Xbox fridge. Trying to think of like, is this graphics or is this? Gotta be graphics, right? Oh, this is a fucking fridge. Any games or movies you're excited for? Not really, besides GTA 6. Besides GTA 6, not really. We were just talking about that though, like how much more innovative can you get with a console? Now, where's the PlayStation fridge? PlayStation would probably be like a grill or something. But yeah, no, I was watching videos of like the Xbox launch and like the PlayStation 2 and like would open on both sides. Why the fuck do they have an Xbox in here? The monster is crazy though.
Hello, Night City. Your man staying here with a chicken.
This does not look good.
Raven, show no mercy.
You must be on quite the journey.
Where are we? I'm going to play it my way.
The line between light and dark is so very thin.
We need a fight. Get ready.
London will be the first city in the world to be made truly safe.
Then he will take it.
They're gonna mess up my tomatoes! You will crush our enemies.
Bro, how big of a fucking Xbox fan you gotta be? That shit radioactive. Don't let your meme be dreams. The fact they embrace the memes and make it to actual thing deserves it. Is this thing real? And his favorite console memes. So it's not a real thing? I can't buy an Xbox fridge? Oh, one lucky fan has a chance to power their dreams to win their... Okay. So they made one. Snoop Dogg unveiled this shit? Who won it? See, these are the smaller ones. Yeah, so I get like a small one. Which I was thinking about getting. Why is this shit $200 some? On Amazon, is this bigger? Or it doesn't have more room. I don't see PlayStation doing this shit. That's all I'm saying. Xbox up.
So today I got myself this giant Xbox fridge, and this thing is way bigger than the Xbox mini fridge.
Oh, okay, so this is the...
Today I got myself this giant Xbox fridge, and this thing is way bigger than the Xbox mini fridge that you can get. So inside there's so much...
Okay, so this is the thing for like $200 some.
Room for your game snacks and drinks. There's also a logo light inside. This is how the Series X fridge compares to the Series X mini fridge and the Series X, and how it looks like on the inside when there's no packaging. There's also a freezer section. There's can holders in the door for two of my favorite drinks, Apple Tango and Monster Energy, sugar-free, and one to go in the freezer to cool off to have in a minute. And shelves for chocolate if you're one of those weirdos that likes chocolate in the fridge. As for the logo light, it's for the door. However, the buttons on the front of the fridge do nothing compared to the mini fridge. This is still a really cool fridge though.
Low-key kind of sold, bro. PS don't need to? They need to, bro. If they want my money. Alright, let's go to PlayStations. channel. PlayStation. Oh wait, how much? They have 16.1 million subscribers. How much does Xbox have? Damn. Xbox only has 5 million, bro. I'm broke? That's crazy, bro. That's news for me. Alright, let's see that popular one. PS5 hardware reveal trailer. 44. I remember this one getting so much. Yeah, but they're exclusive games. That's why PlayStation's up, bro. The exclusive games are so much better. How did you feel when you saw the PS4 coming out? Like, how were you like super excited? Bro said yeah because I knew I was getting it.
What we're trying to create are things that people have never experienced, magical moments that they're going to remember for the rest of their lives. This feels like a good buy video. PlayStation released PS5 trailer. YouTube recommended. Want to see PS4 trailer? It's been 9 years since saying PS4 will always have a special place. Small hearts, full of nostalgic moments, magical. Welcome to another episode of YouTube recommended this years later. What was the PS5? Oh, maybe this, the hardware trailer? Oh, look. The road to PS5. What the fuck does it even mean? After OG launched PS4, I need to get it professionally clean. Do they do cleanings like that? I mean, I would think so. Shut up, weird as fuck. What is happening? What is the point of this? Why is it so eerie? Yeah, I didn't know there was a service for that. I thought you clean it yourself. This fucking shit makes me feel uncomfortable. I remember a lot of people were making fun of this. PlayStation. I had consoles, bro. I had the PS2, I had a PlayStation, PS2, then Xbox, Xbox 360. Right now, I got a PC, though. I have an Alienware PC. Why would I need a console? Do you have the digital version? Yeah, why would I need a console? Besides to play GTA 6. What about media remote?
PlayStation.
Says the one who can't play his game on good quality. Bro, PC is better quality. What are you on about? Oh my god, bro. You can't be so much wrong. What the fuck? Which, I mean, honestly, I could have bought 2 gaming systems. I mean, my PC cost $2,000. When I stream, if I wasn't streaming, I could play that shit on like the best quality. What are you talking about? I bought every Xbox ever.
With Verizon, when you bundle mobile and home internet, you save $15 a month and can get the entertainment you love included on it.
I have just bought every single Xbox console ever. I've got a TV from the time of each one's release, and even the same game on all of them. So, let's see how the entire gaming experience has leveled up. When the original Xbox hit the stores all the way back in 2001, it hit hard. Gamers were shocked that anyone, let alone an American company like Microsoft, would dare to go toe-to-toe with the Japanese giants that were Nintendo and Sony, who at this point had long established their dominance over the console gaming market. It just sounded like a recipe for disaster, but there was a method to the madness. See, while Microsoft had no experience with consoles, they basically ran the world of PC gaming at the time, thanks to Windows' extremely developer-friendly DirectX app programming interface. But they saw a threat on the horizon, with the announcement that Sony's PlayStation 2 was going to be able to play DVDs and CDs, as well as games. Microsoft CEO Bill Gates realized that sooner or later, home consoles were going to overtake the PC as the all-in-one media device. And so they had to act fast and release one of their own if they wanted to stay relevant. The solution? Xbox. And it barely fits on my table. Inside you get the power cable, you get an old school TV adapter, the controller.
I want one.
Moly, this thing is chunkier
A less
than I
boring
remember.
voice.
There's some manuals, and then the console. This is huge. And what Microsoft did here is really clever. They built the Xbox in a very similar way to how you would build a PC, with PC parts like an Ethernet port for online access and a built-in 8GB hard drive, which was the first for any console. And this allowed them to also transfer over that Windows DirectX programming interface to this console, which is actually how we ended up with the name Xbox. And all of this gave the Xbox one huge advantage. It was incredibly easy to bring PC games to it. Oh, yeah, and it was also the most powerful console in the world. Microsoft were very aware that they needed to compete with the PlayStation 2 specs to make the Xbox a success, but what they decided to do instead was to completely annihilate them. With literally double the PS2 system memory at 64 megabytes of RAM, Xbox became the obvious choice for the most ambitious developers, like Bungie, who created the most important game in Microsoft's entire history. Halo. I gotta say, something about this really appeals to me. Seamless, hyper-real indoor and outdoor environments. To some extent, they probably knew how much of an impact this game was gonna have. Let's get this console on. I really miss consoles having moving parts.
Man,
like this.
I love that shit.
And tactile. Something about having an old console paired with an old TV, it completes the experience. You can't forget this bad boy over here. I still can't believe this is a legitimate controller that Microsoft...
That was the first ever controller. The other ones were so much better. They made it so much better. Is this like the same video you sent me? What the fuck is this? DKO? Okay, well, anyways.
Let me finish.
Microsoft actually released. I feel like I'm holding like a boomerang. It definitely makes you feel like you're about to do some serious damage. So you've got player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4. This is what I miss about modern gaming. Like your friends would just come over to your house, they'd bring their controllers with them, they'd plug them into the machine, and you can just play on the couch together. Oh my god. This is such a cool startup animation. Microsoft did such a good job of making this appeal to the gamer. Oh my gosh. They absolutely smashed it with this soundtrack.
Bro, I don't know what it is, but that shit looks fire to do, bro. You get an old ass TV, just OG Xbox, bro, and just play old ass games, bro. It just, I don't know what it is. It's nostalgia,
Now,
probably.
this is going on my funeral. That's a bit dark, actually. Normal difficulty. It's my first time in a while. You know what? Preposterous dimensions aside, this is actually quite comfortable and ergonomic. You can totally see how Halo became such a mainstay. It's a combination of the graphics, the gameplay, the soundtrack. This is way before any kind of motion smoothing tech, so it definitely feels just a little bit laggy compared to modern games. The rumble on the controller is fantastic. I remember how cool people found it when you could see the number of bullets left on the gun itself. It shows every single individual bullet that I have in my magazine, and it's all surprisingly legible. The reflections on the gun are really impressive. And then this would like blow people's minds. You press the white button on the top, and that becomes a flash. Oh yeah, and then you can also go up close and punch them. And it's just as overpowered as it is today. Oh, I'm dead! R.I.P. The original Xbox went on to sell 24 million units in its lifetime, handily beating Nintendo's GameCube to cement Microsoft as one of gaming's big three players, just after their first
and seeing if they actually cleaned them. Oh, okay. Well, bad. I'll watch it.
Console. The crazy thing is, though, that despite those sales, Microsoft actually made a loss of $4 billion on the Xbox, just because it was that expensive to produce. But they weren't worried. The Xbox had served its purpose of building the foundations of what would become a complete game changer. The Xbox 360. Now, you might be wondering why they didn't just do the normal thing and call it the Xbox.
That's crazy. They lost that much money on the Xbox, but they also lost money on the Xbox 360 because of the Red Ring of Death. They ended up paying out like $1 billion.
Well, this is around the time when Sony was launching their PlayStation 3. And so instead of making it seem like they were still on 2 and lagging a generation behind, Microsoft decided to just scrap the numbering system and focus on how this Xbox put the user at the center. Get it? Like 360? And the process of actually trying to get a brand new sealed one of these is actually insane. I mean, you can see the entire box is falling apart because it's so old and also probably not stored very well. So, the console's on top this time, there's a few manuals, and then 2 compartments, after which you get absolutely assaulted by accessories.
Man, that brings out so much memories when we bought this shit. Different videos referencing console.
No idea there was an Xbox TV remote, the wall adapter, Ethernet cable for internet, a headset included in the box. Nice. The TV display cable, the frankly enormous power supply, and then the classic controller. Wow, this is noticeably trimmed down versus its predecessor. It's definitely lost a little bit of that core gamer personality that the first Xbox had, but you can see why they've done it. Everything about this is way more streamlined. From the sleeker shape of both the console and the controller, to the fact that the massive X branding has basically disappeared, all serving the goal of making it a more appealing home media device that even non-gamers would want, which I guess also explains this funny media control remote. The 360 dwarfed its predecessor in the specs department, at roughly 8 times the raw processing power, with 512 megabytes of RAM, helping it to display far more graphically intensive games natively at 720p resolution. Being a PC company first, Microsoft was far more experienced than Sony and Nintendo in internet devices. And so, they used this advantage to make sure that this Xbox had the fastest internet hardware, and that Microsoft's online servers were the most reliable. And while the original Xbox did also have some online capabilities, with the 360, they built online into the core DNA of it. You could buy music, you could stream TV, you could download movies. This was really the beginning of true online competitive gaming. Plus, rather than making each game its own separate online experience, Microsoft realized that if they could instead create a single profile system that could reach across all games, with achievements and gamer score that a player could accumulate to show their friends how good of a gamer they are, they would garner far more loyalty to the console. This is why the 360 shipped with a headset right out the box. Microsoft wanted to make it as easy as possible for people to jump online and get fully invested in the Xbox ecosystem. Oh yeah, and it also had Halo 3, which is still considered one of the greatest video games of all time. Wow, it's actually kind of weird to be holding a normal-sized controller in my hand. This is so comfortable in comparison. And this was like the party trick of the generation. Hold that Xbox button and...
Well, that's because the 360 came out so much earlier than the PS3, but the PS3 also didn't do good when it first launched. They didn't have a good, I watched this whole thing about it. PS3 did not have a good thing about it. Like, there was so much issues of them rolling out. Like, it was so bad.
Wirelessly turn that on. It's so cool seeing that green disc slowly pulse to life. It is not a quiet machine though. I've owned several room fans that make less noise than that. That is iconic. And they're just flexing the 3D power of this console. So this middle button is like your portal to the online features. There's so many things to do here. This is such a great user interface for a console. It's colorful, it's fast, it's clear, and I guess most importantly, it keeps you connected to your friends. It kind of feels a bit like a PC that you'd connect to your TV. It's even actually got the Windows logo here. And I really wish the online servers were still up. All those kids spending their entire evenings screaming obscenities at people's moms. Good times. Okay, so straight away you can notice the higher resolution of this. It's also got a little bit of that motion blur, so panning around feels more fluid. There's also so much unexpected freedom from just being wireless. Even the character's walking animation is much more human. I still miss the fact that you can't scope in by holding the left trigger like you can on most modern first-person shooters. Headshotting grunts is one of my favorite pastimes. The higher power of this console has allowed the scale of the battles to increase. There's more enemies involved in every encounter, and vastness of the battlefields has gone up. Probably the easiest way to see the higher resolution is just looking at the user interface. Oh, I got an achievement! Makes such a difference to the gaming experience. Wow, you can dual wield weapons in this. That's such a cool way of stepping things up from last gen Halo. The Xbox 360 wasn't without its struggles. Like, thousands of consoles were plagued with hardware errors at launch, including the infamous red ring of death, where the lights surrounding the power button would turn red to indicate that your console was effectively a, well, Xbox. And then
Mine never did that until like since like at the end of its career, but all I did was like put a fan to that bitch and it started working.
It was the 360 Slim that you could get bundled with Xbox Kinect, Microsoft's motion camera answer to Nintendo's wildly successful Wii, which Microsoft hyped up enormously, only to forget to release any good games on it. To be fair, I remember being blown away when I first played Kinect Adventures, but let's be honest, it's no Halo. The 360 Slim was quieter and drew less power than the base version, which was enough to make it quite a popular machine. So, Microsoft decided to make lots of versions. The Arcade, the Pro, the Elite, the 360e. And overall, it's fair to say they did enough things right to almost quadruple the last console sales to 84 million. And a sub to the channel would be exciting. That was too easy. But then they would have what would become the biggest fail in gaming history.
Yeah.
On the surface, though, it might not be obvious why. See, what made the 360 such a hit was its combination of gaming, online play, and its dual purpose as a media box. So, with the next generation Xbox One, they decided to run with those quarter eights. They showcased the Xbox One as being this smart media box of the future, being able to seamlessly juggle both television and gaming, and actually being always...
I remember I used my Xbox One with a lot of stuff. I think I moved that back to my mom's and I bought me like a 55-inch TV and an Xbox One, and I played Netflix off that bitch. It was like my Fire Stick, if anything. Like, I played everything off my Xbox One.
Always online, which might have been okay, but it's just the way they went about it went down like a ton of bricks. Because it wasn't just that the Xbox One could be always online, it had to be to function. It had a system that would assign any game you buy specifically to your account, so you couldn't buy or sell used games. They spent so much time talking about TV that it didn't even feel like the launch of a next-gen games console. They called it the Xbox One, even though it was the third Xbox. And the most damning of all was that instead of forgetting about Kinect after its failure last year, Microsoft instead decided to bundle their next Kinect 2.0 with every single Xbox One, pushing the price up to a whole $100 more than Sony's PlayStation 4. All you need to do is to see the difference in audience reaction to know how this generation was about to go.
At $399.
429 pounds in the UK.
You could say that gamers were inconsolable, but the sad part of it is that there's quite a lot to like here. The box is split nicely into two key compartments. One half has a new, way nicer, sleeker headset, huge power supply again, an HDMI cable, mains plug, and then a completely redesigned controller. The second compartment is, well, the console, which is designed to be mostly just a black box so that it would fit well in people's living rooms. Also, Xbox One was not messing around in the power department. While the Xbox 360 was around 8 times more powerful than the original Xbox, this monster was around 16 times better than the 360, or 125 times the original. It's basically a full-on PC, with 8 gigabytes of RAM supporting its now native 1080p output. Even the game boxes have had a bit of a facelift. The Xbox One game packaging looks so much more modern to me. Right. And new controller time as well. I'm a huge fan of the Xbox One controller. This is such an overhaul. It's this really careful blend of both matte and glossy parts. It just looks very pro. Let's boot the thing up. Notice how the Xbox logo is now white instead of green. They're really trying to tone down the "we are just for gamers" messaging. The home screen is vastly different to what shipped on the Xbox 360. That's actually in part because Microsoft played around with a lot of different user interfaces on the 360, before eventually settling with this tile-like design for the Xbox One, which does feel semi-inspired by Windows 10. I always wanted to feel a little bit more like a console and a little bit less like a computer. I do feel like the load times of everything have gotten longer from the last gen. Got a way more sophisticated menu to create your avatar with. You can even see the shine on the face. It's pretty impressive. This is definitely the era of the connected game. Difference is crazy. I mean, straight away, it's running at 60 frames per second. There's absolutely no way that the Xbox 360 could render that many things at one time. And they've also finally added in those modern-day staples, like clicking down the analog stick to sprint, or being able to scope in using the left trigger. One of the other things that Microsoft has improved this time round is the latency of the controller. The first time they went wireless with the 360, there was just a little bit of delay, but that's gone now. The scale of the game means that you no longer feel like you're part of a battle. You feel like you're in a war. Can't wipe the grin off my face.
Sunlight is a powerful thing. That's no, and so does Purina. That's why 100%.
Unfortunately, while it was a big step up, it still wasn't quite as powerful as the competing PlayStation 4. While Sony built the PS4 from the ground up with the sole purpose of gaming, Microsoft said themselves that they purposefully did not target the highest end graphics with the Xbox One in favor of a broader focus on entertainment. And so, just being that tiny bit behind the PlayStation in terms of performance landed Xbox with the reputation of being the console for noobs who weren't really serious about gaming. Anyway, obviously, after all of this, Microsoft realized they shot themselves in the foot with the whole multimedia thing.
On up
so
69.
They set out on a mission to turn things around, releasing Xbox Ones that you could buy without the Kinect, scrapping initially planned features like the always online restrictions, and allowing the use of pre-owned games, and most importantly, creating 2 new revisions of the console, the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X. And this was one of the best decisions Microsoft ever made. So, starting with the One S, it comes in a smaller, neater box with 3 compartments. We've got one which has the HDMI cable, a slightly updated controller, and the mains adapter. One which has the game code for Forza Horizon 4 and some manuals, which seems like a great use of space. And one which is the console. So, why was this such a great idea? Well, it's because Microsoft were kind of right with the original Xbox One, in assuming that there were a lot of people who wanted a high-end gaming device, and also a lot of people who wanted a fast, smooth, connected TV box. The mistake they made, though, was to assume that those were the same groups of people. They were, in fact, largely 2 separate groups that this new strategy of 2 separate consoles allowed them to target specifically. So this One S is the TV box. It's designed to just slot into your cabinet and forget about. It's slimmer than the original console, it runs quieter, it has HDR and 4K Blu-ray support, and the new controller has baked-in Bluetooth, which gives it longer range. And you might have also noticed that there was no power supply in the box, and that's because the One S is a feat. They've managed to make this console smaller, while also cramming the entire power supply inside the body, while also making this way cheaper than the launch Xbox One, at just $299. And then you've got the One X, which is kind of Microsoft's way of overcompensating. It's them saying to gamers, hold up, you said you wanted power, right? Well, here's the most powerful console to ever exist. You get a 14-day free trial for Xbox Live Gold. How generous. An HDMI cable, the same controller as the S, a power cable, and then the One X itself. No frills, definitely no Kinect. This console is just pure numbers. It has a faster CPU, faster GPU, 50% more RAM, double the storage at 1 terabyte, and of course, full 4K HDR support for its games. This thing is 4.5 times faster than the Xbox One, which means that compared to the original Xbox, we're talking approximately 563 times more powerful. Okay, I am ready to experience the power. It's actually an even more streamlined controller. There's a whole new boot up screen as well, which is basically Xbox saying, we got power. I remember the marketing around this console was basically just the word 4K slapped everywhere. On this controller, they've actually added this like micro dot texture on the back. So while the Xbox One X was not a completely new platform from the Xbox One, it still has the same library of games.
Compared
there
to
were
new
quite a few developers
consoles?
who took it as an opportunity to make the
We wanna
definitive
check out the
enhanced
PlayStation
version
ones
of their
also.
existing game. Like with Halo 5. This is taking so
Remember
long to
PlayStation?
load. Come on, Microsoft. One thing Microsoft have done a really good job with though is keeping the console
The
quiet.
PS5 was
Like all I
also,
can
like,
hear
a
right now
big
is still the
need.
Xbox 360 over there. So this is running at 4K, 60 frames per second now. And even though it's the exact same game with the exact same effects as that, the resolution bump shows you a level of detail that you couldn't see before. So it still kind of feels next generation. Plus, the developers also use the extra power of the One X to increase the draw distances, so you can just see even further. Isn't it kind of crazy though that this console, after just a few years of the Xbox One's release, is so much more powerful and yet so much smaller? So yeah, while the One was definitely not the One S and the One X were enough for Microsoft to claw their total Xbox One sales all the way up to a respectable 58 million units. And since then, it's pretty clear they've held on tight to the lessons they learned. Because in 2020, when it came to the next generation, right from the get-go, they launched two consoles
You
with
look
the
at
exact
PlayStation,
same strategy.
that guy
The Series
isn't you
S, a
also
media
has
focus
different
machine at
what?
$299, and the Series X, a gaming focus machine at $499. But this time, because these two consoles were built from the ground up for these different kinds of users, they're
Plus, you
even
gotta
more
reword
special.
that whole thing.
So
Now
for the
we know
Series
what you're
X,
saying.
the box is pretty standard Microsoft fare. Then once you get it open, my gosh, this thing's tiny. It's wrapped like a piece of sushi. There's a power cable, HDMI, a next generation controller, and then the console. So yeah, this is the smallest Xbox ever. It's like a lunchbox, making it the easiest console
I didn't
ever
even know
to
that
just
they
slip
made
into
one
your
that small.
cabinet and never see it again. Did you come because I said lunch? They did cut the disk drive in the process, partly for size reasons, partly for cost reasons, and probably also partly to try and push people to try Microsoft's monthly subscription Game Pass service, which gives you access to a Netflix-like rotating library, but for games. And then in terms of power, it's a bit of a weird
Oh,
one,
is that
because
different?
the
Okay,
Series
okay.
S is a new console
Yeah, I'm
with
gonna look at that
completely
video
modern
after this.
internals and next-gen features, but it's also a much cheaper machine than the One X that just launched 3 years prior. And so on paper, it actually ends up a bit weaker in terms of like the raw grunt available. But there is a significant benefit just to being new. Like because both the Series S and the X are fitted with solid state drives instead of traditional old school spinning hard drives.
Zook's tasty, tender dog treats can turn every outing into an adventure.
They can load up games like this. This is even more textured than the last controller. Even the triggers are ribbed, and the entire controller except the face buttons this time are matte, which I guess is like function over form. There's a new hero game on the block. This is Halo Infinite. And you might be thinking, well, this is a weaker console, right? How is it going to in any way play a game better than the One X? But this is what I was saying, it's a really weird balance. So technically this console runs the game at a lower resolution, 1080p versus 4K, but it's doing so with next generation effects. Oh, and also it can run games at up to 120 frames per second. So for example, if you look at the gun I'm holding, you can see it's got a whole other layer of visual detail. And it also supports these next generation effects, like ray tracing. The firing animations are insane. Look at all this. You can also feel the controller rumble, but it's noticeably subtler than it was on like the first Xbox. And this is actually the first time that you can actually see.
Why do you
that
hate this
the
guy's
needles
voice,
in the
bro?
gun
I think
are
he's doing a great job.
crystals. And I guess the other thing that modern games have gotten better at is finding interesting ways for you to travel. So in this case, you get a grappling hook that just lets you attach yourself to anything. Kinda cool. It's impossible to argue that the Series S doesn't get some really impressive output for the cost. It's just not close to the level of its bigger brother, the Series X. And the premium tier of this console becomes immediately apparent the second you open the box. This is a different experience altogether. Matte black, loads of attention
like
to
open
detail.
up a
They've done a
PC.
really good job of making this feel like a proper Christmas present. There's also a power cable, HDMI, the Series X controller, and the Series X. Definitely one of the more unique shaped ones I've held. This really is the generation of strange space-age console
does
designs. But I mean, compared to the PlayStation 5,
Yeah,
which
he does sound
Sony
British.
wanted to look like nothing else in your living room, the Xbox Series
Sorry,
X's
smart with
boxy,
Valley.
fridge-like design makes it look more like a PC, which is kind of nice
Yeah.
because that's what Microsoft has always done best. The Series X takes the S and overclocks the CPU from 3.6 GHz to 3.8, dials up the 10 GB of RAM to 16, and quadruples the amount of graphics power. So, let's see what 1,125 times the
Damn.
performance of the original Xbox looks like. It's time for the Series X. The difference
That's
that
crazy,
high
like, how
dynamic
much
range
better
makes is
can you
very
get from
much
here,
day
bro?
and night. It feels like when it comes to loading times, they
Xbox
started
dude doesn't
fast,
chill
they
guys,
got
bags,
slow,
bro.
and now they're faster.
Bro, just
This is
love
incredible.
the Xbox,
I mean,
talk
yeah, it's the
about
same
Xbox.
game as the Series S, but playing here, it actually feels bigger than the jump between the One and the One X. It's partly because we have a larger, better screen here, but you do also need a console that can take advantage of that. The combination of sound design with haptics makes every movement feel so precise. And here's the one thing that hasn't changed. These frickin' grunts. I guess the one thing you could say Xbox has played it quite safe with is the controller. Compared to Sony, who's built those pressure-sensitive triggers, I guess Microsoft's focusing more on backwards compatibility and keeping all the core things in place. Right, let's get one big shot of all the consoles together. So, as you can probably imagine, to make a video like this, I spent a lot of time shopping in some of the weirder parts of the internet. And to do that, while keeping complete peace of mind, I used Surfshark VPN, so I actually unfortunately got hacked a few years ago, on Christmas Day. And fighting back against those hackers to regain control of their very own online radar, we change it. And this is the to whatever you... It's already cheap at around $4 a month. If you just use the coupon code BOT, 3% discount is incredible. What a journey.
Damn, look at that, bro. We grew up through all that shit. But I remember the Xbox One, the 360, and an Xbox One. I really like the Xbox One X. And then you have the fucking PC looking like fucking Xbox One X. Xbox One series. That's insane. Alright, let's go to Cole's video.
Sorry for interrupting. Don't you hate when ads do that?
Yes,
Here's
bro,
how to get
stop
rid of them.
fucking doing
It's called
it.
Pi.
This is every single console from DK Old.
Cole, this dude already aggravated me. What the fuck you talking about? This dude has a better voice. And I did watch this dude before. I think it was off a gaming phone. He did a gaming phone video.
But why did I buy this? So there's one video by Moist Critical that people have sent me so many times. So let's find out what DK Oldies is all about.
I've been hearing a lot about a company called DK Oldies. So they sell old consoles, old games, just anything and everything related to old school gaming. And over the last week or so, they've been getting dunked on. Everyone's been calling them a scam. Now, I didn't know a whole lot about this situation until recently.
This feels very meta. I'm watching a video from Charlie where he's like, I don't know anything about this, I just learned about it. Now I'm watching his video where he just learned about the thing.
DK Oldies prices
so
are
funny.
significantly higher
More
than pretty much
entertaining.
anyone else in the market. But
Wow,
after
bro.
learning more about the situation, they make claims
I think
saying
I
that they
paid every
refurbish
Xbox
their
that was
consoles
made.
Ah,
that they're
refurbish. Okay, that is the key word here. Calling it refurbished. And this is not just a DK Oldies thing, right? I've purchased GameStop refurbished consoles that showed up instead being pre-owned, which meant that they were filthy, disgusting. I remember there's an Xbox that was literally just caked in dirt before. So if DK Oldies is doing this, that's not great. I made fun of GameStop for doing it. I made fun of Walmart for doing it. Obviously, I've had problems on like Wish and everything like that. But
You never had a problem
that is
with
kind of what
the bring
everyone
Xbox
does.
back,
I think it's
guy
worth
back.
kind of
I
considering
know,
that
right?
Context. It doesn't make it right, but it also doesn't single out DK Oldies. At least that's my first impression.
I mean,
Okay, we should go.
We're still gonna watch this video, but I do want to see if he does have I built the dream gaming setup. That's kind of fire. Bought every PlayStation handheld ever. I'm trying to see if he did a. I bought every PlayStation ever.
Happy birthday, Marty. Oh, no, you don't. Let me get this.
He's playing every console, bro.
You're too kind. I've heard that.
Unlimited 2% cash back. The Wells Fargo Active Cash Credit Card.
Get the new Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus with AI on us. Only on Verizon.
I've just bought every single PlayStation brand new. We've got a TV from the time of each one's release and even the same game on all of them. So let's find out how much the gaming experience has evolved over time. It might sound strange now, but the original PlayStation was actually a massive risk for Sony. Because, put simply, Sony was a nobody. In 1994, the entire gaming market was just...
I was born in 1994, gang. How crazy is that?
two companies. Nintendo,
I was
who
born
hit a
when the
home run
bitches-
with the creation of Mario and had about 40% market share, and Sega, who having created Sonic, their
remember
equivalent
Sega.
to Mario, had taken the market by storm to achieve a share of 55%. Both of these titans were fighting tooth and nail to try and make their mascot the greatest 2D platformer of all time. But Sony realized something, that now is the perfect time for 3D.
PlayStation,
Yeah,
1994,
this is a
damn.
real sealed PlayStation 1, straight from 1994. And inside we've got the video adapter, in case your TV didn't have the right connectors, the AC adapter to plug into the mains, the controller, which was of course wired, and
Yeah,
the
it's definitely
console.
British Cole.
Hopefully it turns on.
This is ancient equipment.
Bro, that's so crazy. Look at that Samsung TV, bro. Box ass TV.
That sound, that's basically the sound of a cathode ray.
That's it, bro. I remember them big ass TVs. I mean, you're probably not that crazy young, but like, did y'all have TVs like this? Did y'all have box TVs?
Gun shooting
I remember
electrons
we
at
had
the
'em
display
growing
panel.
up.
That's actually why they're called CRT TVs. Power on the original PlayStation.
Yes, dummy. All right, I was just making sure. I thought y'all grew up with flat
screen.
screens.
Opening the disc drive. It's actually making me kind of sad that modern technology has no moving parts. Listen to this.
No.
That's so
The controller is so light,
nostalgic.
it kind of feels like it's not even there. And also, look at this, no analog sticks. There's one thing Sony smashed, it's buttons. This is so nice. Now, with only 2 megabytes of RAM, a maximum resolution of 480p, and no internal storage, the PS1 stats might sound pitiful by modern standards. I literally had to Amazon a 128 kilobyte storage card for it, which is a very weird thing to do in 2022. But at the time when it was released, at today's equivalent of 5
This out of box TV, oh god, we aren't that much. I know, I'm just saying, when I touched the screen, it would shock me. Bro, I remember, that's so crazy, bro. I remember fucking moving them bitches, bro. Fucking sucked ass. But I also remember, like, the big ass TVs where it had, like, the yellow, green, and blue light, whatever. Like, projecting. I remember I had that in, like, my first apartment. It was my grandma's TV that we kept.
$570, this was the most powerful console money could buy. So this is Gran Turismo running on the PS1, and if you compare it to Nintendo or Sega's supposed 3D offerings, you'll quickly notice that Sony is the only one capable of rendering real 3D models with real reflections on the cars. It looks insane in comparison, but wait till you see what the next PlayStation can do. Sony also realized that they couldn't just be more powerful. Their brand also had to be different to Nintendo and Sega's. Their way of doing that was swapping the controller letters for shapes. And it wasn't because Sony loved geometry, the shapes have significance. For example, the blue cross and the red circle, they represent yes and no, which even now to this day is still what they're used for in games. Sony did also follow up the original PlayStation with what's referred to as the PlayStation Slim. But if I'm being really honest, we will be here forever if we start on the variations of each console. So, long story short, this company saw an opportunity and they absolutely smashed it with the first PlayStation. They completely wiped out Sega for good and practically pulled Nintendo's pants down. Coming out of nowhere with the PS1 becoming the first console ever to pass 100 million units sold. So, how did Sony top that? Well, only by releasing the best-selling console in the history of consoles. Sony's approach to the PlayStation 2, released in
I remember, bro, I mean, I probably told you this like 1,000 times already, but my dad used to work offshore, so he used to make like a lot of money or whatever, and he got this shit when it came out, and my sister got like the new flip phone. It was like the first flip phone ever came out. This shit was gas, bro. I had ATV off-road in there. Bro, this shit was awesome. I remember it was still in it was like in a plastic package too, which is weird. I'm trying to think. It had like the games in the front of it, and it was like in a plastic package.
2000 at about $485 in today's money, so significantly cheaper than the PS1, can be summed up with one phrase.
Bro, just the look of it. Hold on, let me see. I'm trying to think what the packaging looked like, because remember it didn't come in a box like this. I remember it coming like in a plastic. See, I remember something like that. It's not even showing me though. Why am I Google shopping? Oh, was that just shopping? Maybe it was in a box. I don't know. I remember this shit was like not in a box. It was just like in a plastic thing. Crazy.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The PS2 is evolution,
PlayStation
not
2 got
revolution. And the unboxing experience
Do you still have your
mirrors
PlayStation
that
2 Plus
philosophy.
thing?
You get an upgraded controller, as well as a similar AC cable and TV adapter to last time. Oh, this brings back so many memories. Almost everything about the PS2 is a direct, no-frills improvement over its predecessor. It comes with about 12 times the amount of raw processing power, depending on how you measure it, 16 times the amount of RAM, and no...
I remember playing like Vice City, Grand Theft Auto. Big ass TV, bro.
Less than 63 times the amount of storage on the default memory card. This had 8 megabytes. Remember, back in the day, consoles didn't used to have these enormous hard drives inside of them to be able to install games onto. The entire game would be fit onto the game disc itself. And so the only extra storage you needed was just a memory card for your save files, which you could then take out and carry your saves to your friend's house with. So,
man, I remember that shit, bro.
if we turn the PS2 on, this is my childhood. So there's an eject button up here. That sounds amazing. You can barely read the actual text of what these things are. That difference is crazy. The difference versus the PS1 is absolutely night and day. The processing power allows it to render many times the amount of polygons on screen, which reduces the blocky look of the PS1 era. And the extra RAM allows for background textures to just have way more going on in them. Like even the finish line banner, it now blows about in the wind. And the master stroke with the PS2 was how Sony managed to, through the design of the console, make it extremely clear that this was a next-gen bit of kit. There's been a few consoles in the past, like Nintendo's Wii U, that look so similar to their last-gen counterparts that people thought that they were just add-ons. Not here. The PS2's design is far more bulky and angular, with this grille that was really meant to evoke the feeling of an engine, something capable of real power. That, combined with some of the best games of the generation, led the PlayStation 2 to break every record ever set, selling 158 million units. You had Nintendo's GameCube and Microsoft's original Xbox also around at this time, but they didn't even sell a fifth as much as the PS2 did. And to keep up with the increasing complexity of the games, Sony also upgraded the controller with something they called DualShock, which was a combination of dual analog sticks and built-in rumble technology. So you can really feel the texture of the grass, and if you're not a good driver like me, the texture of the wall. Sony wasn't kidding with the word rumble. The PS2 was also technically the first time you could play your games online, but you had to rely on the individual game developers to create their own servers, as Sony didn't develop their own infrastructure for online connectivity. Until the PlayStation 3. Arguably the first Sony console to properly herald in the digital...
When I see the PlayStation 3, I think of Spider-Man. Wii U was a massive flop. I missed the Wii though. Yeah, the Wii, but I remember the Wii was such a... Everybody I know had a Wii. Like, my mom standing in line for like... Well, we bought... I think we had like 4 Wiis that Christmas. Because my aunt had, like, my aunts, my uncles, us, like, we all had a Wii. You think about buying a Wii in a month? Bro, about to be a retro gamer.
AI is ready to work for you with drug discovery tools powered by Dell.
This time round, internet was a focus, hence the included Ethernet cable, as well as the TV output cables and a USB mini cable to charge the further upgraded wireless controller. I probably don't need to tell you that the PS3 was also the boldest console Sony had ever made. Look at this beefcake. Plus, do you recognize that text? Yeah, that's the Spider-Man font.
Okay, that's why it reminds me of Spider-Man, because of the font.
Sony owns the Spider-Man IP, and they thought it would help them to sell more consoles. it did not. The good news is that the PS3 took some notes from the PS2 in the ramp everything up department. The bad news is that this time that also included the price.
You never had a Wii?
To try and make the PS3 feel like a completely new era in gaming, Sony had a special custom cell processor designed just for it. But this was really expensive, pushing the launch price of this console all the way up to $800.
Yeah, that's why they fucked up. Nobody was gonna, bro. Even this day of age,
$69.
Even now, no one's gonna pay $869 for a fucking console. That's insane, bro. Like even the Xbox One X, like, don't even cost that much. That's insane.
Today's money, supremely pricey, especially given the console's
in today's money, which is still insane.
Creaky plastic exterior, but oh boy was this thing powerful. As a matter of fact, as an overall system, it was about 35 times more powerful than the PS2, making it 384 times more powerful than the PS1. These are ridiculous numbers. In fact, the PS3 was so advanced that it was actually used to build supercomputers, including a truly genius move by Stanford University researchers who developed an app called Folding at Home, which allowed PS3 users to dedicate a portion of their supercomputing power to aid with complex protein folding calculations, used to learn.
Damn, bro, PlayStation 3 was Bitcoining already? What the fuck? See, I never really played Nintendo. I mean, we had Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and I played Mario and shit on it, but once we got the PlayStation and the Xbox, that was it.
Learn more about how to prevent diseases like Alzheimer's. It was also pretty good at games.
So I never actually owned a PS3 at launch, but I remember how I felt when my friend got one for the first time. It really felt like a machine from the future. Like, I remember being just giddy with excitement that something of this power actually existed. You also notice they've actually started putting attention into how the discs look at this point. And the disc loading mechanism, that's all inside the console now. There's no tray that comes in and out. This console is not quiet, or cool for that matter. It's like an oven back here, and it's only on the home screen. You can kind of see that this is the point where the console became much more than just a place to play video games. It's the first time there's a proper home screen that you would actually want to spend time.
So this is alright, but doesn't hit the same. Why doesn't it hit the same though?
The fact that you could change your home screen color. Oh yeah, the Friends tab. I spent a lot of time there. You think at that point that you can't make the same generational leap again, but this is it. And also you can actually feel the mechanics of the game becoming more sophisticated as well. There's more physics involved. One problem that PS3 owners did used to have though was that because the on-off button was capacitive, their pets would often turn their consoles off. Don't get any ideas.
So now we have the PS3 Gran Turismo next to the PS2, next to the PS1. I can't wait to complete this line, but already the leap is phenomenal. The first key difference being resolution. While the PS1 is outputting the game at 512 by 240, the PS2 is pushing over 3 times more pixels at 852 by 480, and the PS3 was running at 2 times that at 1280 by 720. Or in other words, for the very first time,
they have a lot of original games.
High definition gaming. This is basically the difference between you going into the settings on this video and swapping between 240p, 480p, and 720p. Massive. But it's not just more pixels, it's also much more complex game effects. One of the most impressive things about the PlayStation 3 was its ability to also handle almost lifelike lighting, shadows, and reflections.
I think that's why Need for Speed was so much
sprawling backgrounds.
Something else I'm noticing is how much nicer the controller is. It's wireless, it's weightier because it's now got an inbuilt battery, and also has motion sensors built into it. And also, compared to the PS2's controller, the triggers just have much more travel.
They call this the 6-axis controller because as well as all the buttons, it could also pick up how you move the controller itself and translate that into the game. Even though it was the home to god-tier games like Grand Theft Auto 5 and The Last of Us, even though it was where Sony launched their free online PlayStation Network service, even though it also doubled as a media machine with full Blu-ray disc compatibility, Sony really screwed up that pricing. It ended up selling 84 million units, barely half of the PS2, and was slightly outsold by Microsoft's Xbox 360. Sony was on the back foot again. They needed to do something special. Thankfully, Microsoft did their job for them. When the PlayStation 4 launched up against the Xbox One in 2013, Microsoft screwed up their marketing so badly that Sony could have re-released the PlayStation 3 and probably still won.
The fact that Microsoft forced users to also buy the Kinect camera with the console, forced users to be always online, and focused almost completely on how the next-gen Xbox would work as a TV box rather than a games console. It made it almost too easy for Team Blue. Sony even took to the stage to rip apart the Xbox One's deliberate inability to play borrowed games.
This is how you share your games on PS4. Thanks.
And it was pretty much game over at that point.
Fuck?
Now, when you add to this that the PS4 was also insanely well designed, it starts to make sense why it completely popped off. Like, check out the new DualShock 4 controller. It incorporates the DualShock tech from the PS2 controller and the 6-axis motion sensing from the PS3 controller, and it makes both aspects much more refined. The analog sticks are now also further apart, and they concave for better grip. There's a new share button, which reflects the shift to social gaming. Plus, we've now also got an RGB LED light on the front as an identifier for which player you are, a speaker in the controller itself for a directional sound experience, and even a 2-inch touchpad in the middle for menu navigation. I remember the moment that I got to hold one of these for the first time, and I was just sat there like an idiot, turning it over and over in my hands for 10 minutes straight, thinking, holy cow, this is real. The PS4 is about 10 times more powerful than the PS3, making it, the numbers are getting kind of out of hand at this point, about 3,800 times as powerful as the PS1. It had 8 gigabytes of RAM, which is 32 times the PS3, and 4,096 times the original PlayStation. And not to mention that because the PS4 is based off a less custom, more standard PC-like architecture, it was way easier for developers to work with it and fully extract that power.
With Pro Plan Sport, incredible happens here.
I have a lot of Nintendo-based games,
But it starts here. Pro Plan Sport, advanced nutrition for strength.
I have a Switch Lite, and I never play that bitch, so.
You know, this kind of reminds me of the really
only game I have
days
on
of
it
this
is,
channel. I remember when the PS4 launched, we had about 10,000 subscribers.
called?
I know that because
Where
we
you
used to cover tons
build
of
your own,
gaming
like,
content at the
city
time,
or some shit?
but I would stick to handhelds because I would never dream of spending this much on one console. I know this section is all about the PS4, but all I can hear is this PS3. So this is actually quite exciting. This is the first time you can turn the console on with the controller. So this is very much a refined version of the PS3's home screen, much more blocky in style. Oh my god, listen to
So
it.
he doesn't do the PSP on this one.
It's louder than the PS3. There was me thinking this was going to be a nice, sleek, quiet machine. I only half blame Sony. This room that we're in is basically a sauna right now. Let's boot up the game. You can also tell the text is way sharper and more readable now. You can actually now pick the exact time of day of your race, and it will affect the weather conditions accordingly. You can feel such a visceral difference.
Yeah,
the density of the crowd,
also,
the light coming directly from the sun.
does, like, the
So I've
weather
actually
that you're
filled up
at.
a bag
So if
with
it's raining
ice
where
just
you're
to
at,
cool
like,
it
that's
down,
where it's gonna
because this is
be.
getting ridiculous. I'm gonna lay it on top of the ice pack. In my mind, this is what a modern racing game looks like.
That's
the
insane.
game almost has
Yeah,
like
the
an
PS4 is
atmosphere
really
that
that
the
loud?
other ones lack. Excuse my driving. I can actually also notice a bit of
It's
realistic
not practiced
damage on
by
my
a jet
car,
ride.
so upgraded physics too. What do you do with this much power then? Well, I mean, just for starters, a further doubling of the resolution to now 1080p or Full HD. The PS4 could happily fill a 40-inch TV and not look like it was being stretched. And it also just gave developers the headroom to be creative, to build not just detailed
It's not even
backgrounds,
worth it now, yeah.
but fully open worlds, to execute their visions in their entirety. Plus, they could now add pretty much any visual effect they could think of. Dirt particles, motion blur, realistic fog, and it's in these details where you really feel the difference versus the PS3. So when you combine all of this with the fact that the PlayStation 4 also launched at a much friendlier $500 in today's money, it's not surprising that it went on to sell 120 million units, more than doubling Microsoft's competing Xbox One.
Damn, bro, Xbox taking the L. You know, that's one thing about Nintendo though, is like there's so many different consoles. Like with Xbox and like PlayStation, you kind of get like the same. They just get better graphics and everything. With Nintendo, like you have a creative of like, you know, the Nintendo 64. Then you have the GameCube, which is like a fucking cube. Then you have, you know, what else? The Wii, which is like ahead of its time. Mario 64 is fire. I like Mario 64. And then like with the Nintendo Switch, like there's just always like, and like yeah, even with like Game Boys, like there's just so many different consoles and like just different things they do, you know.
It's kind of hard to imagine how this masterpiece can actually now be seen as a relic of the past. But the PS5 firmly pushes it aside, cementing itself as the wildest, most futuristic PlayStation to ever exist. And Sony has really run with this idea of futurism. Everything from the controller to the console to the headset they launched alongside it,
Do
it
they
all shares
sell
this
a
two-tone,
non-white
ultra-minimalistic,
PlayStation 5?
space-age design philosophy. And I freaking love it. The moment I saw the PS5 get announced, I shrieked. Like, what gamer doesn't want a console that looks like a literal alien starship? And I mean, it makes the Xbox Series X that it's competing against look like a prude by comparison. There is also this strangely shaped stand,
You didn't even
which
do the
actually
Xbox
very
Series
cleverly
X
can support the
on,
console either
maybe we did.
horizontally or vertically. But do the internals keep up? Absolutely. The PlayStation 5 dunks on its predecessor. It has 2 times the RAM at 16 gigabytes, and its core graphics processing unit is about 8 times more powerful. And that's not even factoring in its solid-state storage that's at least 50 times faster than the PlayStation 4's hard drive. And this is the fun part about compounding multiples. When compared to the
Damn.
original PS1, the PS5 is approximately 30,000 times more powerful. You could make a bridge of PlayStation 1s spanning an entire city, and it still wouldn't be able to outperform a single PS5. Let's see how the PS5 compares. Love these LEDs on the inside. Such a classy touch. This is such a fun video as well. Hey, if you want to see me make a comparison of every Nintendo console ever, then a sub to the channel would be historic. Oh my god, I'm blinded. Adjust HDR. Oh, that is actually one of the new features here. Just like insane levels of contrast. I know we're only on the homepage right now, but this screen... The one thing you really notice about the PS5's UI is everything is very visual and full screen. Wow. The amount of buildings, you can see individual settlements over here in the background. Okay, just look at the difference in color between this screen and this screen. A lot of that is just the new high dynamic range. I can hear applause coming through the speaker in the controller. You can even see the clouds in the sky reflected on the body of my car and moving in real time. Oh my god, it's so rumbly. Okay, this is a huge upgrade, even from the PS4. Not only is the resolution now full 4K, 4 times higher than 1080p, but the PS5 is also capable of real-time ray tracing. Meaning that instead of pre-baking the light reflections into a scene, like most video games have done till now, this console can simulate the real physical behavior of light in real time, and how it affects every single pixel on the screen. And I can also feel not just the general rumble from my engine, thanks to DualShock, but also the physical sensation of putting pressure on the pedal, thanks to the new adaptive triggers in this controller that can adjust their tension on the fly. Every PlayStation console together in one frame. What a sight. Imagine what the PS6 is going to look like. Now, as slick as the PS5 does look, there is one way to make it even slicker. These are dark plates. And not only do they make your console matte black, but they add vents to allow more air to pass through. They reduce the temperature on the inside of the console, and they also trim the corners to make it more compact. Much needed with the size of this thing.
That is
But it's
fire. I
not
like
just
the
a
black.
customization for the sides of the console. You can also pick up a middle skin to cover up those unavoidable scuffs on the glossy piano black plastic. I've gone for matte black all the way around, but you can also get retro grey, which is color matched to the original PlayStation 1, or just classic white. And if that's still not enough customization, dark plates have one more trick. Light strips. These are basically light filters that you put on top of the existing lights that your PS5 has to change the color of them to whatever you want it to be. Link below to check out dark plates. To see me buy the weirdest tech on the entire internet, click here. I'll catch you there.
Does he do? He does do the what the? How many?
I just
PSPs?
bought every single PlayStation handheld ever released.
How many handhelds does PlayStation have? I thought it only had the PSP.
Which is...
So recently we took apart a PlayStation 1, a PlayStation 2, and a PlayStation 3, but I actually skipped over a system going to the PS3. I skipped the PSX. That's right, this is a PS2. It's probably the craziest PS2 I've ever seen. See, Sony wanted to try to make what I would call a do-everything box and sell it for over $700 in Japan in 2003.
That's
and
insane,
well,
bro.
they at least tried, because here it is. Today, I wanted to take a look at the PSX, take it apart, talk a little bit about it, and, well, why it probably only lasted just over a year in Japan. Now, I was first turned on to this system originally by MVG a little while ago because he did a video on it and talked a bit about it, and I thought it was kind of a neat thing that Sony did. it just didn't work out too well because of what they tried to do, which was pack everything possible into this system. But there is some historic value in this box. Sony did a lot of firsts here that carried over to the PlayStation 3. For example, this is the first place that they used that cross media bar, which eventually went on to be what was used on the PlayStation 3, and it showed up in Bravia TVs as well. So that was kind of interesting to see it show up technically in what's a PS2. Also, it had Ethernet on the back and would accept firmware updates. And in a press release prior to the release of this system, they also mentioned that it would be the first time that they would have a variable fan for changing temperatures as the system was on, rather than just one loud fan, although
ugly ass
the system is still quite loud. This was also the first time they had a slot loading disc set up, and this would play PS1, PS2, DVDs, as well as record shows that you would watch through a hard drive that I grabbed. And I mean, check this thing out. It is amazing looking, right? I think
that's like another thing why I started collecting vinyls, because I love like the physical and just like the art of it and everything. That's what I kind of like wish with games too. Like, I love the art style of this, and like, I don't know, just seeing like the inside of it, getting posted. Like, I remember GTA, when you bought like a game of GTA, you get like the big poster of like the map, and you put that shit on your wall. Like, hope they do that shit again, bro. I mean they won't, but one could dream. Let's react to Discord. Alright, bet. Wow.
Japan just
before, because we're seeing all this shit, but I do want to watch this.
Actually, a lot more than you might think. Because you've heard of the PSP, but this was actually not Sony's first handheld. It was the Pocket Station. Released in 1999 in Japan for the equivalent of just under $40 today, Sony marketed this little guy as a cross between a memory card for the PS1 and a digital personal assistant. But what makes this their technically first handheld is that it can also play its own games. This thing is minuscule. The buttons aren't even labeled, probably because you wouldn't be able to read them anyways. It's got some pretty simple clock and calendar functions. That's the digital assistant side of things. But then if you want to play games, you have to download content from a compatible PS1 game. Like this. So I believe you just flick it up from the bottom. Hey, look at that. So it's going to go into the memory card slot. And that is our game downloaded. What a weird process. Okay, so you flick right from the home screen, and that enters you into the Crash World, at which point you get 3 different games to choose from. And they are all...
How crazy ahead of its time that is, bro. Bro just downloaded a game onto that little bitch ass shit. That's insane. That's what, like, how much can gaming get better at this point? Like, how, like, what can you look forward to, you know?
All in Japanese. They have done such a good job distilling the platforming feel of Crash Bandicoot. It's a 2D top-down game with a 32-pixel width, and yet it's so clear at all times what's going on. This Pocket Station definitely makes you feel the whole constraint breeds creativity notion. And wow, look at the jump! Kind of insane. Got a very basic speaker at the back, just classic 8-bit sounds. It's no Dolby Atmos. Hardware doesn't feel very hard wearing. But it'll be interesting to see at what point in this journey the quality of materials picks up. In terms of specs, I describe the Pocket Station as cute. It's able to run this dinky little Crash Bandicoot virtual pet game thanks to a very basic 33 kHz CPU and 2 KB of RAM, with an LCD screen capable of 32 by 32 resolution. But what's actually quite cool is that since it doubles as your PS1 memory card, it's packing 128 KB of storage, which these days is everything you could possibly need. But what really made this Pocket Station a hit was the IR sensor at the top, which granted it multiplayer capabilities with other Pocket Stations, giving it the same kind of playground appeal as the Game Boy, or I guess more aptly, the Tamagotchi. The Pocket Station sold just under 5 million units in its lifespan, which is actually huge when you realize that Sony only ever released it in one country. They never expanded beyond that because at no point did they ever manage to even keep up with the demand just from Japan. You can totally see how the Pocket Station was what laid the foundations for them to build their next console. Because if you didn't know about the Pocket Station, the decision for Sony to launch the PSP in 2005 kind of looks insane. Because while there'd always been a raging battle for the home console space, the handheld market was basically owned by one company and one company only, Nintendo. Nintendo had not just got the Game Boy, i.e. the most successful console on the planet at the time, under their belts, but had also then followed it up with the Game Boy Advance, which was a beastly console that also broke records, and had just recently topped that all off with the Nintendo DS, their next-gen handheld with 2 screens, a stylus, and proper 3D graphics. This was a real David and Goliath situation, so Sony had to make sure that they were offering something unique. How did they do that? Well, they took Nintendo's own ad campaigns from their previous Game Boy Advance that flaunted how the thing could do
Console quality gaming anywhere.
questionable claim, but they actually delivered on it, promising power comparable to a PlayStation 2 portably. Team Nintendo? And right from the unboxing, you can see how serious Sony was about this mission. The PSP came in this value pack, absolutely jacked with goodies. Reams of manuals, including a demo disc and a screen cleaning cloth, a soft pouch, a pair of actually branded PSP earphones to plug into the console's 3.5mm jack. There's a strap, I guess borrowing from the Pocket Station it came from, and even a media remote that can go in between the earphones and the PSP to add physical controls to it. A 32MB memory stick duo card, and even a removable battery. Man, how can anyone hate tech from this era? And then the console, which screams sleek, understated performance. And when you turn this thing on, it was like nothing the world had ever seen before. It's tough to state just how insane this 4.3-inch LCD display was at the time. With a 24-bit color depth and 272p resolution, that's, by the way, 128 times the number of pixels versus the Pocket Station, and way more than the DS. It was very much cutting edge, and actually very similar in quality to the first iPhone's display, except 2 years even before that. And Sony really took advantage of that display. Do you remember when I said the Pocket Station had a 33kHz CPU? Well, the PSP had dual 333 megahertz CPUs. On a very basic level, that is easily 8 times the performance of Nintendo's DS, and no joke, 20,000 times the performance of their previous console. Not to mention the PSP had a proper console controller-esque analog nub, and that this was where Sony announced their brand new media format, called the Universal Media Disc, or UMD. And this was interesting. While the competing DS game cartridges could hold an absolute max upper limit of 512 megabytes of data, UMDs, being basically like mini CDs, could hold 1.8 gigabytes. And that meant not just that developers could run wild with their games, making the PSP the very obvious real gamer's choice against Nintendo, and racking up a ton of actually big-name console-like exclusives, but it also cemented the PSP as one of the best portable movie players around. Honestly, everything about the PSP generation just excited me. Everything felt so tactile and physical, and I love that about gaming. Fun fact, this was my actual PSP carrying case that I used for my entire lifetime with the thing. These UMD...
Bro, I want a PSP, so how much is a PSP right now, bro? Oh, that's not that. Refurbish? It's not bad, bro. 186. I probably want the 3000, right? I wouldn't want that over on black. Yeah. No, it's not bad. I'll buy this shit, just never play it. Freaking anime nerd, what the fuck? How much PSPs do you got? Don't buy, or why? Why not buy consoles from Amazon? So, oh no, I think I bought my Xbox from Walmart.
Discs, I thought they were the coolest thing. Like this whole ritual of flicking open the pack, of slotting in the UMD and closing it back up.
was music to my ears. And also, the fact that it could play movies meant that I so remember the feeling of browsing those Blockbuster aisles, just finding the perfect Friday night movie to watch on my PSP. Okay, so you go into the game tab and you click UMD. It's been so much time since I've heard that. One classic trope of the PSP that I'm remembering now is this scratching sound. That's the disc being read. It was all the time, but especially when you're on like a loading screen, which also used to last really long. So with subsequent consoles, when they replaced that with flash storage that was silent, it was a massive quality of life improvement. It's really hard to convey how much of an improvement this is from like, the Pocket Station. You can totally see how people at the time were just blown away by this thing. Because it doesn't look quite as good as a PS2 game. It's very much got the same feel. It's got the same kind of scope in terms of the kinds of things you can do in it. The audio is also miles ahead of the Pocket Station. It's proper stereo sound. I'm getting slaughtered. The analog stick as well is a massive quality of life improvement versus any other handheld that had existed up until this point. It actually makes big worlds like this natural to traverse. You can also so tell when you're using this original PSP that it was absolutely designed with the PlayStation 2 in mind, to look as consistent as possible so it could be the perfect companion.
So yeah, all the odds were stacked against Sony when they launched, but they just so happened to create the perfect cocktail of what the world was looking for at the time. This thing far surpassed Sony's small town sales expectations, but it was still getting outplayed by Nintendo's DS. To which you might be thinking, why? We just spent 2 whole minutes talking about why the PSP was more advanced. And, well, I think it's partly the games. Nintendo had the behemoth that was Mario, which did half their job for them. I can't tell you how many school coach journeys I had where the entire activity was just a massive 8-person Mario Kart multiplayer sesh, where incredibly out of those 8 people, only one of them actually needed to own the game to do that. And partly also the price. Sony's hardware launched at nearly $400 in today's money, and that coincided with a pretty devastating Nintendo price drop to just $200 the very same year. Coincidence? I think not. So, Sony tried things. They released a bunch of hardware revisions over the near decade of the PSP's lifespan, starting with the sleeker PSP 2000, or the Slim model. And this is the console I grew up with. The number of hours I sunk into this machine right here, unspeakable. Nothing even comes close. And actually seeing where it comes from, this feels like a massive leap. It's gone from 23mm thick on the original to 18.6. And the weight of the thing is down from 280 grams to 189. And you feel that trimming a lot more with a console that you hold in your hand than you ever would on a home console.
But it wasn't just slimmer. The PSP Slim came with the one major upgrade of, assuming you had the right cable, being able to output directly into a TV. This is literally Nintendo Switch functionality in 2007. Sony was so ahead of its time. Do you know what? The quality fares really well when translated even to a much bigger screen. Nothing about this looks in any way subpar. Oh, this also reminds me of one of the things I used to spend so much of my time doing, changing my theme color. Tasty Treat applies a cookie theme to your entire device. Kind of adorable though.
But Sony wasn't done yet. It's very clear that Nintendo's DS Lite, which had very quickly overtaken the original DS in sales, was front and center of Sony's mind. They were clearly doing everything they could to try and bottle that magic into their console, which led us to just 1 year after the Slim, the PSP 3000, or Slim and Lite. I always just imagine this as Sony grabbing a microphone and screaming, "Yes, we have Lite too." Notice also how the boxes get smaller each time, as Sony trims down what it's giving, and then also figures out how to cram what they are giving into as little space as possible. Now, I wouldn't call the Slim and Lite a revolutionary console, but considering it came out so soon after the Slim, these are solid improvements. A brighter screen with 5 times the contrast ratio and an anti-glare coating, plus a microphone. You could literally Skype your friends on your PSP. This thing was so advanced, but it still didn't sell in massive numbers. So Sony decided, screw it. People clearly want something that is actually as slim and light as the DS Lite. We're going to take that to the absolute extreme with the PSP Go. And I so remember seeing this thing in stores for the first time. I'm unbelievably excited that a handheld this cool existed, unbelievably jealous of anyone who actually got one. This thing, inspired by Sony's Milo personal communicator, is tiny. It's even cuter than my Milo communicator. And the form factor, it's just so much better. Drool-worthy. This is one of the most robust, satisfying opening and closing mechanisms to date. It's even nicer than most foldable phones, even today. But it did have a problem. See, PlayStation Portable as a platform, it wasn't designed with this level of portability in mind. You know, these UMD discs? Well, one of these, plus just the hardware required to read it, just that, is nearly the size of this console. So, they axed it. The PSP Go couldn't play any kind of physical media, and you had to buy everything from the PlayStation Store. To compensate, they did give you 16 gigabytes of inbuilt storage, which with PSP games, it could go quite a long way. But, I mean, if you think the world now is not ready for all digital gaming, the world then was definitely not. Any real gamer hated the idea, and as gamers, we like to let people know that. This thing was such a commercial failure, in fact, that even a very dramatic Hail Mary, buy a Go and get 10 free games promotion by Sony could not save it. These were 10 proper games, by the way, in total worth more than the console itself, but people just wanted nothing to do with it. So, to actually make sure they shifted the bulk of their PSP hardware before the next generation came out, Sony had to do the one thing they hadn't tried up until this point, getting the price down to the DS's level, the PSP Street, which, apart from the Go, is, I think, the coolest looking PSP with this slick matte finish. And they've also done that while shaving the price down by about $100 with the removal of stereo audio, the brightness buttons, and actually even Wi-Fi. That sounds major, but for most PSP users, including myself, Wi-Fi was not really a big part of the experience, so this was a smart revision. It's just, this price cut, it needed to come much earlier in the console's lifecycle, when people were still forming their opinions about the platform as a whole. I mean, the PSP at this point had been out for 7 years, which is enough time that...
PSP Street? Currently unavailable. Bro, you can get Game Boys for like $100.
But people were starting to turn their attention to what's next. And so the idea of a cheap version of the last-gen console with less features, it's not exactly going to set the world on fire. But clearly, all of these console revisions, while none of them individually spectacularly successful, they did all pull together to push the PSP to a total sales number of 82 million consoles, which for a company whose last handheld was little more than a fidget toy is impressive. The stage was set, and hype was building for PSP 2, which ended up being called the PlayStation Vita. And with the PSP being my favorite console of all time, I cannot tell you how excited I was for this thing. And when I eventually got it in my hands, the hardware was every bit as spectacular as I had dreamed. Let me explain. That one stubby little analog stick had become 2 much more substantial ones. The entire back panel was a touch-sensitive layer to add another dimension of interactivity into games. It had 6-axis motion control brought over from the PS3, front and rear cameras with face detection and head tracking, small cartridges instead of large discs, full 3G connectivity to take the social features to the next level. Not to mention the materials. They went from cheapish plastic to metal and glass in many areas. The PSP was already premium in my eyes, and so moving from that to this was like my entire worldview imploding. And then the screen. The PS Vita screen was its single biggest asset, a 5-inch 544p resolution that's 4 times the number of pixels of the PSP, capacitive multi-touch panel.
Oh, that's
At the
okay,
time it launched, it even felt ahead of many top-of-the-line smartphone screens, let alone the PSP. And this was also at a time where the idea of touchscreens on devices that were non-smartphones was still very new and very exciting. So, how powerful was it? Well, take the PSP and multiply it by 10. So yes, 200,000 times the Pocket Station. This was a technological behemoth. So let's take it for a spin. Oh man, holding this in my hands, turning it on for the first time, it really takes me back to that moment when I first got my hands on one. I remember unboxing it for the first time, and before touching the console, my hand was almost quivering because I spent so much time just fantasizing about it, watching this trailer again and again and again, just dreaming about what it would be like to be able to reach inside and grab the thing. Okay, so you turn it on with this really solid, actually metal button. Oh yeah, then they have this whole page tear unlock animation.
just think that was so cool. And one thing becomes very clear having just used the PSP, this is nothing like it. I think the PS Vita has paid very close attention to smartphones at the time, and in a sense has tried to replicate the success of those. I just love how bouncy and filled with personality the user interface is. And one of the coolest things about this console is you no longer just had to do one thing at once. You could have multiple applications open. I remember being so excited by the idea of cameras. Oh wow. Zero processing. What you see is what you get. Okay, so now we're gonna load up Assassin's Creed Liberation, which is basically the PS Vita's equivalent of what we just played on the PSP. Well, the speakers are much better too. They were still good on the PSP, but here you notice that they have much more space for you to hear the different instrumentals. Oh wow, yeah. I mean, the clarity on the character model, the buildings, the amount of texture you see on screen at any one time is very clearly a generation ahead. But you know, this also reminds me of one of the big problems I had with the Vita, which is, it kind of hurts me to say, but I feel like developers were too ambitious. I feel like Sony, when they were marketing this console, they tooted the horn of this is basically like PS3 power on the go. So, you know, developers built their games accordingly, like very ambitious, massive worlds, and it just couldn't quite handle it. And so it was such a common PS Vita trope for games to be really pretty, but just run at poor frame rates, which, to be honest, you can even see right now. The Vita also had so many gimmicks, like the back touchscreen and the front and rear cameras, which I think they came with a lot of promise, like this idea of you'll be able to play augmented reality games and you're going to have some next level immersive experience, but it never really happened. All of that stuff kind of relies on Sony being able to convince developers to adopt it, and they just didn't. And so with any serious game like Assassin's Creed, you kind of would have just been better off without it and having saved costs on the console. If you could look past those compromises though, then yeah, the Vita was a tasty treat of a console. And a sub to the channel would be, well, handy. And the best part is that it seemed like from the launch that Sony had also worked out pricing. Compared to the original PSP, which launched at the equivalent of $400 in today's money, the Vita was $330 by the same metric. So the stars were lining up, as were the pre-orders from core PSP fans. The PlayStation Vita was shaping up to be a firecracker of a console launch, with even exclusive games from massive brands like Uncharted ready to go day one. But then, as soon as this thing hit the mass market, the Vita fell flat. Something had clearly gone majorly wrong. I would put it down to three things. One, that while the price of the base console itself was reasonable for its tech, the price of its proprietary Sony-made memory cards was not. You pay a full extra $100 to get a 64GB card, which feels like Sony's roundabout way of trying to recoup costs on the console. Two, the Vita had poor timing, partly because it was beaten to the market by Nintendo's shiny new 3DS, partly because, unlike the PSP, it was launching into a market where most potential users had just bought new smartphones and were enjoying the novelty of gaming on those, and partly because it was cannibalized by Sony's other products. While the Vita launched in Japan in 2011, it didn't hit the Western market till 2012. And this was not good, because it's the very same year that the hype started overflowing for their next home console, the PS4, which would launch in 2013. And so the Vita had gotten people excited, those who bought one loved the hardware, but then the stage was swept from under its feet almost immediately. As soon as that happened, the Vita was already on the way down, but what finished it off was that the stream of games also followed. Because the thing was so unique, it was a complicated, expensive platform to develop for. So who's gonna bother doing that the second you start to see the attention moving on? Credit where due, Sony did take one stab at revitalizing interest in the Vita and also correcting for the effective tax on storage. And that's the fairly predictable at this point PS Vita Slim, which they decided to give its own internal storage so you didn't have to buy a memory card. An internal storage of 1 GB. Wow. What makes it even worse is that as soon as you start using an external memory card, you're effectively locked out of using that internal memory, rendering it completely useless as anything more than a buffer while you crawl your way to a computer to drop $100 and wait for your Vita memory card in the mail. And while, yes, it's pretty cool that you could now have PS Vita power in a body that is way slimmer and 40 grams lighter, it's pretty clear that Sony didn't exactly pour their love into this revision, because that lightness actually came at the cost of both the size of the rear touch panel and the quality of the screen, with the console's prized OLED display being swapped out for a less fancy, cheaper, less vibrant LCD. Sony stopped releasing sales figures after a while, which kind of tells you all you need to know. Like they just want to shut their doors and pretend it never happened. But it's estimated that they only sold a grand total of 16 million PS Vitas in all. And that puts Sony in a bit of a pickle, because when a console doesn't sell well, it doesn't make sense to invest millions building big games for it. But then at the same time, if Sony did nothing and just let the thing die, then that erodes trust in their future consoles. This idea that they're only going to make them good platforms if lots of people buy them. So they smartly pivoted the Vita away from being its own major platform and more towards being the recommended companion for the PS4 through Remote Play, and also set up this new indie-focused initiative to get as many lower budget, smaller developer-made games as possible on both Vita and PS4. Because a lot of these games were very simple, both consoles could easily run them, and you could have cross-buy with the ability to pick up where you left off on one console on the other. And for these smaller indie games, the Vita did actually become the perfect platform to play them on. And it was such nice hardware that I know people still do to this day, which feels like as nice of an exit that the console could have had. But just before we get to the next generation of handheld, Sony had one more trick up their sleeves before the PS Vita died out. The weirdest handheld revision I've ever seen in my life, the PS TV. Essentially, the PS Vita handheld, just without the screen, and the controls, and the fact that it's handheld. So, we'll stick that down. You connect to it via your PS4 controller, which is actually kind of all the more confusing, because if you have a PS4 controller, you probably have a PS4. And if you have a PS4, why do you want a PS TV? Because, yeah, it's a media box, it plays games, it watches movies, but it's going to watch movies at a lower quality than the PS4, and it's going to play games that were really designed with the portable form factor and the portable controls in mind. So yeah, clearly this product was designed as a way to repackage the PS Vita's proposition to try and shift some more units of the thing's hardware that had already been manufactured. And to be fair, it's priced really generously. I just don't know what the exact use is. And this is actually a really good example of that. If I try and load up the same Assassin's Creed Liberation game that I just played on my PS Vita, it won't open. It's just not supported. It must need some of the core PS Vita hardware to actually function. I definitely feel like Sony also tried to borrow some of the things that made the Wii really successful, the way they framed the social features, but they never took off in the same way. But the writing was on the boardroom wall for Sony, and as far as handhelds were concerned, it said, don't bother. So for literally a decade, PlayStation fans retreated back into their living rooms, with Sony focusing all its efforts on the home console front. Until now. Enter the PlayStation Portal, the biggest box so far in the video, and really a completely new kind of handheld. Wow, this thing feels like a beast. And in so many ways, this is worlds apart from Sony's other handhelds. Like, the screen is 4 times the resolution of the already pretty crisp Vita. They're no longer just good for a handheld, they are literally one-to-one with your actual PlayStation 5, including the same adaptive triggers that can let you feel tension. The catch is that, well, it's empty. This thing doesn't play games natively, but it streams them from your PlayStation 5. And while that might sound sucky, which I understand, and I know a lot of people online are saying this thing makes no sense, in a way it might actually be my dream console. Okay, so every other console that I've sat here in this chair and tested for this video, I've played with at some point before in my life. This is completely new to me. So you press on that and it opens up a very literal portal, and I guess when it finds your console, you go through that. That is awesome. The thing that I'm trying to discern here is how much or how little does this feel like I'm just playing on a handheld as opposed to streaming it? I mean, as far as the quality of the home screen goes, almost indistinguishable. Every bit of text is crystal clear. Wow. I mean, this looks absolutely insane. It's really hard to separate the fact that it's not running on this console. I mean, all I have in my mind is the PS Vita as our kind of point of comparison. And compared to that, this feels like not 1, but 3 generations ahead. The latency between, let's say, when I move the joystick and the character moves is very low, to be honest. There's a tiny bit of lag, but not necessarily more than even games that aren't streaming. I mean, just having like a wireless remote, for example, does introduce some. I just wish it was like its own thing. The only thing that does remind me that I am streaming as opposed to playing natively is the dynamic resolution. So it seems like what happens is every time you kind of turn around and it's got a. Ooh. Okay. Oh, do you know the haptic feedback on that? Wow. So it seems like it's programmed to make its top priority to avoid lag, but obviously, when you're doing things over the internet, naturally there will be points where you get high signal, points where you get low signal. So while the frame rate and the fluidity is pretty consistent, the quality, not as much. I know that for so many people this makes no sense because you've already got the PS5 that can play the game, you've already got probably a bigger screen and probably a better sound system too. But for me, handhelds just give this feeling of freedom that you don't get with anything else. It does very much look like if PlayStation made a Switch. Like it's the exact mirror of that. Massive tablet-like screen in the middle and then big controllers on either side. One thing I don't like about this is that it doesn't support normal Bluetooth headphones. Apparently for the purposes of latency, Sony's saying that you can only connect directly to Sony headphones. Whether or not that's true, it would still be good to allow users the option to use something else. And I'm dead.
Too big to be
Now, when you're in a situation like this and you're relying very heavily on your home Wi-Fi, there is a cool trick you can use to up your security. I've spoken a few times about how you can install the Surfshark VPN app.
I like how he does that at the end of the videos, though. Bro did every Nintendo handheld. They do every Nintendo, too. Bro just be buying a whole bunch of shit. Bro bought every PlayStation Vita, what the fuck? Every Nintendo console.
I was today years old when I learned M&Ms were the first candy in space, and not just because they're made by Mars. They're
Had it with your old phone. We've got you. At Verizon, trade it.
I bought a
Well, he bought a PlayStation 3. I mean, he already fucked up there, bro.
refurbished PS3 from Amazon for over $300, and in this video, we're gonna take an in-depth.
See, we got luck too, like. You gotta look at where you buying it from too. You gotta look at these stores. Like a lot of these are not even Prime. You have to really look at the stores when you do this shit. This is a slim version? What the fuck is this? See, this is from Sony store. So you're buying this from the Sony store. And you go right here, it's going to show you all the pictures and stuff. This is crazy. This shit was dirty as fuck. Man, I ain't about to... What the fuck? I would turn that shit back. That's insane. Grime and food crumbs were not pleasant to look like that. That said, function was fine. Appearance was better after taking a brush tool. What the? Why would you do that? Where did you? Which one did he buy though? This isn't what I paid for. The product was listed used as in good condition. No, you never want to go for good condition. Nah, it's still good. It's not really a scam. You're paying. Alright, Cozy, you have a great one. Because I bought a PlayStation, Xbox 360 off of Amazon, and it was great. You gotta understand, you gotta also like look which one you buying. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what it's saying. Oh yeah, it says refurbished product is tested, certified, looks and works like new. This refurbished product includes functional tests and basic cleaning. So this says it on there. PlayStation 2 Silver. Look at that. You get a PlayStation 2 for $200, bro. What the fuck?
candy coat.
I've just bought every single Nintendo home console ever. We've got a TV from the time of each one's release.
PlayStation Lite. Is that what it's called? I'm about to make me some more coffee though, for real. But PlayStation 5 still costs $500. Games are working, some are not on the system. Yeah, it looks like a lot of these refurbished shit's fucking dirty. That's insane, bro. But Hit Run's such a fire game. We played that on the GameCube.
And even the main Super Mario game for every single one. So let's see how much better the gaming experience has become. Nintendo's first home console, the NES.
That was the same thing with NCAA football. I have gotten the last one, and it was costing like $300, $500 on eBay and shit. And I had it, so I could have sold that bitch. But then now NCAA made like another college game for like since 2014. So now it's not that rare anymore because now they're making games again. But
couldn't have come out of.
I played it in NES once. I remember the controllers.
Worst time in the West. The company had had huge success with their arcade machines, but when it finally came to entering the living room in the early 1980s, the entire video game market just so happened to be experiencing what's still known as the Great Video Game Crash of 1983. Put simply, everyone was making games consoles. There had become far too many to choose from, and every single one had their own separate, confusing selection of rushed, poor quality games. The entire reputation of a video game console was the worst that it had ever been, to the point where critics were even saying that gaming is a fad and that the entire concept would actually die out in a couple of years. But this didn't put Nintendo off, and in fact they did something very clever to try and spin it to their advantage. They created a games console that looked nothing like a games console, and they called it the Nintendo Entertainment System to avoid the stigma that came with the term video game. They even bundled 2 controllers in the box to make it more of a family living room item than something just for the solo gamer. This was a calculated move. Man, this entire package is so unbelievably old that it almost just looks alien, doesn't it? The controllers, the types of cables and the adapters you find here, none of it even resembles what we use today. I can't believe I'm about to switch on a console from 1985. And this TV, I've never seen anything like it. And apparently it turns on by... No. Try that again. Crazy. Now we turn the console on. Wait. What? The game is booted up the second you turn the power button on. And then you've actually got physical dials to be able to adjust the picture profile on the screen. This entire thing is just so satisfying. This is gonna sound ridiculous, but bear with me here, because with a 1.7 megahertz processor, a whole 2 kilobytes of RAM, and a maximum resolution of 240p, the NES was actually spec'd like a next-gen machine when compared to the Atari 2600s that people were playing before them. And as a huge fan of just video games in general, the craziest part of this for me is that this console is the console where Nintendo launched the first ever Zelda game, and more importantly, the first ever Mario game. Let's plug the Player One controller in. Oh my gosh. This feels like such a moment in gaming history. Like, imagine if you could have taken the small group of developers that...
Well, you know how crazy people was probably going back in the day for this shit? Probably thought this shit was like flying cars.
This and showed them what Mario would actually become today. You can hear that same jump sound even in today's games. And it's crazy that the entire game basically works with one face button. The text itself is kind of hard to read because of how low the resolution is, but the game is very playable even today. Regardless, this little red plumber was an instant hit. And when you combine Mario with the console's beautiful, clean graphics, its branding as a must-have toy instead of a games console, as well as its rock-bottom price of $250 in today's money, you can probably see how it became the most popular console in history, selling 61.9 million units, which was enough that Nintendo had arguably saved the entire video game industry. That by the time they decided to release the NES's successor, they didn't even have to worry about a dying market anymore. And what a successor it was.
Actually,
the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, released about 5 years later at a much higher price tag, $450 in today's money, was basically an NES with every aspect dialed up to the max.
Okay, so I remember this controller.
For starters, the controller was probably the single most important controller ever made, bringing in a smoother, more hand-friendly design, 2 extra face buttons, X and Y, that set the standard for how all future controllers would be made, and also shoulder buttons. All controllers up until this point relied almost entirely on your thumbs as the only input. But this controller is what made gamers realize that actually every single finger could be an input. And this would allow for games with a new tier of complexity. Whether it be drifting in Super Mario Kart or aiming your arm cannon diagonally in Super Metroid. Yeah, Nintendo loved using the word super. It was basically their way of saying next gen. There's a similarly enormous set of cables and adapters to last time, and then the SNES itself, which is actually lighter than I expected for something that's an absolute beast in performance. And I'm not exaggerating when I use
remember the Super Nintendo being like that.
The term beast. The way to calculate graphics power is a little complex for these early consoles, but just to give you an idea of how much more capable it could be, the SNES came with 64 times the amount of RAM.
I remember it looking like this for sure.
Versus their last machine. What is it with the pull tabs on these old TVs? I love the clickiness of everything. It's also so crazy that this is what the games used to look like. And then to turn the console on, there is a switch.
Good evening. Tonight we have the pride of West Africa. It brings together the
got that old gaming
Nintendo Switch. Nintendo presents. Ah, that's so much better. The music in this video is giving me chills. And it's also noticeably higher resolution music than the last console. In a way, the SNES was the pinnacle of 2D gaming, just before the 3D era. With this much power, developers could basically make any 2D game they wanted to. So if we compare Super Mario World on the SNES versus Super Mario Bros. On the NES, the backgrounds feel so much more alive, with multiple layers moving at different speeds as you walk to simulate things being closer and further away from you. It's also a shocking amount sharper. Like, text on this is barely readable. This one has like no problems at all. And objects also have proper lighting and shadows for the first time ever. Now that that has become my benchmark, I can almost feel the wonder that people must have felt when stepping into this game for the first time. Why am I excited by the fact that Mario has a new spinny jump? The SNES didn't quite trounce the sales figures of the original NES, but for a console released only a few years later, the fact that it still sold 49 million units is nothing to be scoffed at. But with consoles like Sony's first PlayStation leading the charge into 3D gaming very shortly after, Nintendo had to find a way to keep up. Enter the Nintendo 64. Named after its new 64-bit chip that could now process data.
This shit was fire, bro. This was ahead of its time.
In larger chunks at a time, making it perfect for 3D. Man, this box is so wacky. Love it. And the controller, equally so. But as much as it does look like something Batman might throw at a villain's face, this was just as big of a deal as the SNES controller, thanks to the invention of the analog stick by a Nintendo employee. You're going to start to notice a theme in this video, that even more so than the machines themselves, the key to Nintendo's console success is all about controller innovation. And then we've got the console, which is almost as weird looking as the controller. Now here's the thing, the Nintendo 64 had all the ingredients of a slam dunk console. Firstly, as you might have guessed by how it's literally named after its new processor, this was the most powerful console in the world. The fact that we had a 64-bit processor in a machine that was literally $300 in today's money, this was almost science fiction. And it made this thing approximately 30 times more powerful than the SNES. Or, what's even harder to grasp, 1,920 times more powerful than the NES. Why is there a button here? That makes no sense. But the analog stick was a game changer. The analog stick made the Nintendo 64 the most natural way to traverse 3D environments. Plus, the biggest thing that separated Nintendo from other console titans like Sony and Microsoft was the fact that they weren't just console designers, they were game developers. So they never just made the box and then hoped lots of great games were made for it. They made the box and the main games that you'd want to buy with it. I'm just now realizing this has 4 controller ports compared to 2 on every past console. The N64 was home to truly legendary games like Zelda Ocarina of Time, GoldenEye, and Super Mario 64. You bet we're gonna test it. Thankfully a TV, I understand. I love these switches. And the other upside is that your pet can no longer turn your gaming console off. You can actually see it take a minute to get to the right level of brightness. Oh my gosh. I can't even begin to describe the difference here. Mario 64 might just be the most influential video game ever. You can see how Mario 64 was the proof of concept for how future 3D worlds would work. how you'd be able to move within them, how the camera would follow you, and how you'd be able to interact with objects inside of it. Remember, this is all new. You could argue that SNES games have actually aged better, because 2D games that look like that are still a thing now, whereas 3D games that look like this are not. But
True.
Putting myself in the shoes of someone whose best gaming experience so far was that, and handing them this, I would have paid to see their reactions. So why didn't it do better? Even with all of this going for it, the N64 only managed to sell 32.9 million units in its lifetime, which almost makes it seem like Nintendo is trying so hard for nothing. And to put it simply, it's because they now had a major competitor in the form of PlayStation. The PS1, while not as capable on paper, beat Nintendo to market with a 3D-capable machine by a full 2 years, which was enough of a lead that all the pioneers who really wanted a 3D console, they already had one. This was no doubt extremely frustrating for Nintendo. So when it came time for their follow-up console, the GameCube, they made sure that they released closer to the next PlayStation, the PS2, and they made sure that they used a similar disc-based format, and they made sure that when it came to power, they beat it. And that with the machine itself, they outdid them completely. This is a very meaty console. Everything in this box is just much denser than before. The wiring, the controller that looks like it's from another planet, and of course the machine itself. It genuinely gives off the vibe of a mini supercomputer, apart from the cute little handle on top that also makes it look like a lunchbox. But the console does send a very clear message. You want to play 3D games with incredible graphics? This is the box you need. And it has the specs to back it up too. Compared to the N64, it was approximately 5 times more powerful. You ready for yet another nostalgia hit? Oh my gosh. It's the GameCube screen. Crazy. You can instantly tell it's higher resolution. Gotta say, Nintendo was definitely playing the weird card here. Nothing about this controller makes any sense. Like, only one side of the controller has 2 shoulder buttons. The second analog stick is so tiny and strange. And the face buttons too. What is this arrangement? The shoulder buttons travel so far, and then when you get to the bottom, they have this click. That's so nice. I can see why people still use this thing today. Right, Simba is behind the consoles. Please don't unplug anything. There we go. This is an enormous jump. Like, the amount of effects on display here is a world above. The water looks amazing. And you can even feel how hot it is in the game because of how heat distorts things that are further away. The resolution is 480p, or 4.5 times the number of pixels versus the N64, which is an enormous jump. But I wouldn't say it looks 4.5 times as sharp, which is at least in part due to the fact that the N64 was designed with CRT TVs in mind. And also the fact that with later consoles, Nintendo has opted for a smoother, more refined look. I almost feel bad for Nintendo, because even with the intense focus on trying to make the best console they possibly could, even with an exceptional controller and a pretty reasonable price of $330 in today's money, the GameCube sold even worse than the N64, with a total of 21.75 million units.
Them bitches are
and
not
you
selling.
could point to the lack of online gaming as a reason, or maybe the fact that the GameCube focused too much on Nintendo's own games and lacked third-party support. But I think the crux of it is just the competition. The PS2 it was up against sold like nothing we've ever seen before, at 158 million units. Not to mention, Xbox had just joined the battle too, with huge games like Halo and Fable further squeezing Nintendo's share of the gaming pie. But this failure taught Nintendo their most important lesson yet. It's time to talk about the Wii. And if you're enjoying this video, then a sub to the channel would be really good. It took until this point, 2006, for Nintendo to realize that they didn't want to compete with PlayStation and Xbox anymore. But more importantly, that they didn't need to. That the joy of gaming didn't require the most chunky, extreme-powered machine. And so with this console, there was a complete paradigm shift in thinking. This is when Nintendo started focusing on fun. And in doing so, created their most successful, widely appealing console ever. In fact, without even unboxing the console, you can already see how they managed to appeal to the everyday person who might not even call themselves a gamer. This is the most organized console package I've ever seen, with 2 drawers to separate the different sets of parts. And it comes with literally everything. An enormous operations manual, a stand to keep the console upright. There's yet another controller that had never been seen before, and arguably the craziest one yet, even a case to protect the controller. Who does that? These companies make so much money off players breaking their controllers and then having to buy new ones. But there's more. You've got the sensor bar to detect motion from your controllers, a couple of cables for power and connection to the TV, and then the machine itself. And this is also very different. You can probably tell by how it only takes up a small part of the overall package. The console's tiny size, or its simple design, that's far less about trying to look like a high-end gaming rig like most consoles, and more about trying to blend in. That the promise of the Wii isn't really about the console. The hardware itself is only a 1.27 times improvement over the GameCube, which by gaming console standards is completely unheard of. And this must have been a very scary move for Nintendo to make, because each generation up until this point was all about power. More power was the entire way that you could offer gamers more possibilities within your games. And while Nintendo was sat here making 1.27 times improvements, Sony and Microsoft were making 20, 30x improvements to their hardware. But what it all came down to was this. This was when Nintendo's continuous focus on controller innovation finally paid off. You'll notice it looks a lot like a TV remote, and that even the Wii's interface looks like a TV's interface, with each app being a channel that you had to point your remote at. None of this was an accident. Given that Nintendo was now purposefully giving up on the traditional hardcore console gamer, they needed to make sure that this console was as simple as possible for the new, more casual audience they were now going after. People who may never have used a games console before. How do you do that? Well, make it as similar as possible to what they're already used to. Genius. We've got my own personalized me ready to go. Love this music. Such a headbanger. All right, let's play some games. It's so weird, like to play this game, you also have to attach what they call the nunchuck accessory, just really to give you a joystick. Okay, so you can definitely tell that the game objects have stepped up in complexity. The game is also a little bit sharper, but it definitely doesn't feel next gen. To be honest, I'd say the biggest change as far as the gameplay is concerned is more the ambition of the title itself. Nintendo's gone from exploring an island to exploring galaxies. But do you know what actually sealed the deal for this console? It was the fact that every single Wii at launch came bundled with a free copy of Wii Sports, which was little more than a mini-gaming concept. 5 different sports that you can play with these almost comically low-budget looking characters. Gamers laughed at it, but their grandmas didn't. For a casual gamer, this was the most seamless, organic gaming experience they'd ever had before. You could have your entire family playing at the same time. You could customize these characters to look like the people playing, and the gameplay itself required, no joke, 0 explanation. All leading the Wii to shatter everyone's sales expectations at 102 million units. But the best part of this is that they did this not by stealing Sony and Xbox's market share, but instead bringing a whole new audience into the world of gaming. So, Nintendo finally got that big break they'd worked so hard for. But where'd you go from there? Well, the Wii U.
You! No, not me, you. Yes, I am you.
And I gotta say, this is the least Nintendo-feeling unboxing experience. Very much a weighty, premium, more mature package than the more toy-like appearance of past consoles. Another enormous manual pack, again, a free game in the box, perhaps trying to replicate the success of Wii Sports with the Wii. And being the premium pack, this box is absolutely rammed with all manner of peripherals. And we haven't even got to the second part of the package, which has the console. Oh my gosh, this is the best peel I've ever experienced. It's really good. And then, yet another completely new type of controller. So here's what I think happened with the Wii U. Nintendo thought, okay, we've got the casual gamer. The Wii brand is so strong and uncontested that when we release the next-gen Wii, all those casual gamers are obviously gonna buy it. But how do we make this also appeal to traditional gamers? Because remember, that's where the major money is. While the original Wii proved that casual gamers will buy consoles, they tend to be far less interested in buying lots of games for them. This is why I think Nintendo's gone for such mature packaging. This is why they've offered the console in both a casual basic version as well as the slick black premium version. This is why Nintendo's gone back to making big power jumps, with the Wii U's graphics processing unit being slated as 20 times more powerful than the Wii's, making it approximately 240,000 times more powerful than the original NES. And this is why they came up with the Wii U gamepad. This was the key selling point in Nintendo's marketing. A gamepad that can connect to the console over Wi-Fi and stream the game running on the console onto the screen of your handheld, which had 2 major implications. That you could A, play the majority of your games entirely on the gamepad, providing you were in range, which meant that even if someone else wanted to use the TV to watch the sports game, you could still carry on using your console in its entirety, which is actually wildly impressive to look at. This is so much slicker and sharper and faster than the Wii's interface. But also, it allows you to have a dual screen experience. Nintendo had already found with their handheld DS consoles that there was an appetite for one screen that
that showed you the main gameplay, and then a secondary screen that you could interact with. And the Wii U basically brought that same concept into the home console realm. The gamepad truly feels like it was designed for the real nerd gamer.
Purina Puppy Chow and Kitty Chow. Highly digestible with sensitive
Alright, Sting, man, you have a good one, bro. Appreciate you stopping by.
Me? Well, Nintendo made sure that the Wii U also still worked with their old Wii motion controllers to capture that same magic for the casual player. Oh wow, this is true next generation compared to that. This immediately makes the Nintendo Wii look old school. Oh, it's got real-time shadows too, so you can see as I hop under this tree, the shade is also present on my character. As far as graphics are concerned, this is an everything upgrade. This is textures, lighting, shadows, effects. This is 720p gaming running at 60 frames per second. The jump is literally the difference between feeling retro and feeling modern day. The problem, though, is that I think in trying to appeal to both serious and casuals, they've actually appealed to neither. They've tried to make the console look and sound similar to the Wii, to signal to the casual fans that this is the new Wii, but in doing so have made it thoroughly unexciting for the serious gamers, who dismissed it out the gate as just more simple minigames. This new gamepad wasn't enough to satisfy the serious gamers, who wanted big screen experiences, not small screen experiences. And at the same time, it was just confusing to the more casual players, making the Wii U seem like an add-on for the Wii as opposed to a new console entirely. And 3, it wasn't powerful enough to take on the PS4, but it was powerful enough that when paired with all the other sensors that you need to make this work, it was very expensive, with the deluxe pack that I've got here starting at $450 in today's money. As someone who was a handheld gamer first, I actually loved the Wii U, and I was so unbelievably jealous of those who could pre-order it and actually hold one of these in their hands. But it didn't take long to find out that commercially, this was a complete and utter failure, selling less than any other Nintendo home console in history.
Oh no!
But it's funny how these things work, because for the second time, right after Nintendo's biggest failure, they were about to have their biggest success. The Nintendo Switch. It's actually a very similar idea to the Wii U before it, but it's just the extra 5 years of tech advancements that had happened since then allowed Nintendo? Nintendo? That might be a funny joke. Nintendo.
No.
But it's just the extra 5 years of tech advancements that had happened since then allowed Nintendo to actually execute the concept properly. It's a smaller, lighter box than before. You get a power cable and then a bunch of accessories for, would you believe it, a completely new type of controller, the Joy-Cons. And then the console, which is a little different. Right, I'm just gonna say it now. I think the Nintendo Switch is the most intelligently designed console on this planet. The idea is the same as the Wii U, of being able to play your games either on the big screen or in handheld, but because the power is located in the handheld itself, as opposed to having to stream it over Wi-Fi, you can take this console anywhere and instant resume your game from where you left off, all while it charges up your Joy-Cons automatically. But it gets better, because the way these Joy-Cons are able to separate from the console and can work independently by just flipping them sideways means that you can have multiplayer gaming. And then the cherry on top is that by embedding them with gyro sensors, they've even managed to recreate the motion controls of the Wii and the Wii U without needing to stick a fiddly sensor on top of your TV. Now, the Switch is not super impressive to the nerd within me, with a pretty crummy display by smartphone standards, and occasional issues with the Joy-Con joysticks drifting even when you're not touching them, and also just the simple fact that this is not a big power upgrade, being only about 1.5 times the power of the Wii U, or about 370,000 times the power of the NES, which, when you put it that way, actually sounds really impressive. But the key thing is that in the exact same way that Nintendo managed to separate themselves from Sony and Xbox with the Wii, by targeting a completely new type of gamer, the Switch has also been separated by being a legitimate handheld console in its own right. Now, all that stuff about power said, this is still a definitively better gaming experience than the Wii U. It's a combination of modern graphical techniques, of more advanced ways to interact with the environment, more complex game mechanics, better control over the camera, just all the kind of modern quality of life improvements that you expect with a game today. Like, the way that I can spin the hat on my head by using motion controls is really immersive. The best compliment I could give it is that I play games on a PlayStation 5, and coming from that, this is good enough that it doesn't feel jarring. And when you pair the frankly genius design of the console itself with a games lineup that includes all the main series Pokemon games, Zelda Breath of the Wild, and Animal Crossing and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate,
Animal Crossing,
I'm not
that's
even
what I had.
surprised that this thing has already sold
Nintendo was mid to me.
111 million
Yeah, I never really
units,
fucked with
and
Nintendo
we're only
games.
partway through its life cycle. I don't think I've ever seen a more beautiful sight than what I'm looking at right now. Except maybe this app called Honeygain. It's a genuinely fascinating...
Well, we're not doing that. Anyways. Damn, it's not even available, Cole.
Would you rather get a massage from a man or surgery from a female doctor? Wow.
Like minor surgery?
No, serious surgery, like a blown kidney or something.
Jeez.
Good question, Peter.
Is the man gay?
Nope.
Is the female doctor at least Jewish or Asian?
No, but actually, you know what? I'm going to take it up a notch. Hispanic female doctor or gay male masseuse?
Hispanic from Spain?
No.
Oh. So it's basically, would you rather get a massage from a gay man or die?
That's insane. Good question. Alright,
My name is Nathaniel. I live in a small rural town in Texas. And when you last saw me a decade ago, I was in an intimate relationship with my car chase.
oh wait, I already saw this.
Okay, guys, I got one. Would you rather get a massage from a man
witnessed with my eyes your testicles touching my drum set?
All right, that's it. That's it.
You two guys leave me no choice. No television for a week.
What?
We are so serious, guys.
You're fucking high! Are you out of your mind?
Goes in Robert's wall safe,
On.
and it's gonna stay there.
No!
Okay.
This house is a fucking prison! On planet bullshit! In the galaxy of this sucks camel dicks! I witnessed with my eyes your testicles.
They went crazy. Funniest movie? It's an alright movie. I want to say it's the best Will Ferrell one. I'm on a boat, bitch. Oh, boats and hoes, that's what it is.
About me. You masturbate more than anyone on the planet. Oh, fuck, everyone knows that. Tell me something nobody knows. When you do it, you're thinking about guys. Dude, not all the time. Sorry if I scared you.
Do not all the time. What is happening here, bro?
Approved! Approved! Look at you. You who were once so proud. Go now and never return. Approved! 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 I don't know. Approved! 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 Approved!
Bro knows ball.
I don't know.
That fiend?
Look at you.
Come
you
on.
who were once so proud. Go now and never return. Look at you. You who were once so proud. Go now and never return. Approved! Approved!
Why you said the Mandy one? Okay, that Mandy one is out of... Wait, how is that one out of pocket? You would want to sleep with Mandy? You would approve Mandy, bro. Yeah, that's why I said no. Yeah, they said no. To Mandy. How's that out of pocket if they said no?
Yeah.
Like Christmas?
Yeah, I had a good Christmas. So
My mom got me literally $150 gift card to Hot Topics. Got the chains from Spence. Got these from Hot Topic. Got the rings from Spence.
you're ready to? You're gonna go like that?
Yeah. Yeah, put your shoes on. Let's go. Yo, can I get aux?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Am I more than you bargained for? Yeah. Yo, JD, think you can take my picture?
Yeah, I got you, bro. Yeah. Is that
Yo,
okay?
dude, let's go to Hot Topic.
Are you serious?
Yeah, let's go to Hot Topic. Oh my god!
They already have that hoodie.
I know, but it's a different color. Take my picture. Hold on. What's up, man?
Am I more than you bargained for you? What?
Makes you human, my nigga. Let yourself feel those emotions deep in your heart, my nigga. While you're at it, feel yourself inside of me, my nigga. Stay sensible, my nigga.
What the fuck happened?
Feeling makes you human, my nigga. Let yourself feel those emotions deep in your heart, my nigga. While you're at it, feel yourself inside of me, my nigga. Stay sensible.
That's insane. I'll just beat a what? Am I more than you bargained for, yeah?
My boyfriend's dick is too big for me to fuck it comfortably. How do I tell him? Don't leave him. Come to me. You'll feel fine, all right? You, listen, this isn't your Cinderella story, okay? If the shoe doesn't fit, don't wear it. But come on down where we got 6.5 on a warm summer day, all right? Not in December. Boyfriend dick? I got that hubby hog, you know what I'm saying?
Sorry.
Oh, cute dog. What's up, buddy? Oh, he actually doesn't really.
Good boy.
Wow. He never lets anyone do that. He must really love you. He doesn't even let me do that. Or could you actually stop touching my dog's peanut?
Bro, stroking a dog. She must have got the car for one day.
Meat beating rules. Rule number 1. After you beat your meat, you want to clean up, bro. Tissue, napkin, or you can just clean up, get in the shower, and rinse everything in the drain. Rule number 2. Do not watch the same video over and over again. When you watch the same video over and over again, it just makes you like get addicted to that video. You want to expand your horizon. Watch some hentai one day, watch some BBWs the next day. Rule number 3, and the most important rule, bro, change your areas. One day you want to be in the bathroom, next day you want to beat it in your room, beat at church. Change your environment. You want to get the best meat. Beat
at church is crazy.
Some of my most favorite jobs I ever had were the jobs where I was making pennies. Broke as a joke. I'm talking about sitting in the parking lot of the dollar store, having to call my mom, be like, hey, can you spot me $50 for food for the rest of the week? But you know what? I was happy because the people at the job wasn't mean. Yeah, I was broke, but it was all right because the job was cool. Life too short to be miserable.
Wake the fuck up, bro. I am up.
Straight up.
You a Prime.
There is literally
I don't have Prime
nothing
Energy. I just have the hydration drink.
Than having to go to work every day at a job that's just detrimental. Dude, you'll be like maximum, I'm talking maximum depression.
And I probably only had like
I'm never
2
gonna
hours,
be the guy to tell you to
right?
just quit your job, you know what I mean? But if you're getting treated like absolute dirt, just quit, bro. Don't even give them a 2 weeks notice either. Just bounce. Don't even show up. That's what I did with one of my first jobs. You quit your first job? Yeah, I walked out on the spot on my first job. Couldn't find a job, right? Had to get on HUD. About to be on food stamps, right? Couldn't get a job. Bro, nobody was calling me back. I went to this, have y'all ever seen these hiring agencies where you go to them and they take like a cut out of your pay and they find you a job? By the way, never in your life ever do that. Never. Live out of a box before you do that. Anyway, I got hired to this place. I was working the warehouse, man. It was booty. So basically what it was this giant warehouse. They had like a whole bunch of inventory. And you would get like these big giant sheets of stuff you got to pick off the shelves. And then bring it up front and let people scan it in to get shipped off.
Bro, I don't want to see the whole story.
Maybe once every 7 years in Louisiana, it snows like this, okay? I mean, and I don't know why, but as soon as it...
That was insane, bro. That snow was crazy.
Starts snowing here, people have to get on the road and drive. I don't understand that. Them trees can't take that snow. Them Louisiana trees, they cannot take that snow. As soon as that snow rests on them trees, they start snapping. Excuse me. I don't understand why you fellas are getting on the road driving. I mean, do y'all not realize that there's black ice on the road? I'm not talking about the air freshener, okay? I just want you guys to be safe, all right? I love your ride. I do love your ride.
I appreciate it.
That's crazy.
I feel like it's cold air, like blowing hard. It's crazy. So when I put my hand in here,
people probably thought that shit was real.
What's wrong? What?
When your child, 5 years old, starts learning about Martin Luther King Jr.
Why did they kill us? Kill who? Martin Luther King. It's okay. I'll explain to you later.
Martin Luther King.
I'll explain to you later, okay? You don't need to get upset. I already told you how great he was, right? Now you read it. He's dead. That's a long time ago. I want you to calm down, and then me and you are going to have a discussion. I'm going to tell you why, okay? But he was a great man. You don't need to cry.
What? How? How does that happen? Bro, how does that shit happen, bro? That shit funny. Did the machine take your lunch money after this? To a machine built to be punched is crazy. That shit funny.
In VR chat, me and my buddy Scat heard some pretty interesting things from behind the door. I don't even know how this is legal.
Shiri?
Oh.
Hello? Anybody home? Oh shit, she's close. She's almost there. You can do it, you can do it. Damn, all of this for free as well, man.
Bro, moaning in the VR chat, that's crazy. VR sex? Oh yeah, you hug now, huh, Cole? That's crazy. You're dying. You're dead. You're dead. You're dead, bro. Oh my god. The way my Italian husband pronounces English words.
My butthole leaking everywhere.
Your what?
This thing, my butthole leaking everywhere. It's no fine.
It literally sounds like you're saying butthole.
No, you say butthole. I say butthole. It's different.
What's happening right now?
It's me.
Did you know? Did you know that when you nacho cheese on chip, on nacho, taste chip nacho cheese on you? This is because nacho cheese and taste chip on nacho cheese is reference to taste chip on your cheese.
That shit crazy. How much? Yo, chill.
Yeah.
Stop it! Why is he barefoot in the fucking... That shit disgusting, bro.
What the?
Something. With bare feet and that shit crazy.
Do you mind if I touch you for your consultation?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Great. For your consultation.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Do you mind if I touch you for your consultation?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Great.
Dear Natto,
I just want you to know, if you ever get in trouble, I'll take care of you. 'Cause you and me, we're like brothers, only closer.
What is your favorite thing to do? I'm Moxie, your robot pal. Something seems off.
That's what they all say.
Oh yeah, this definitely you, bro. Speed spitting, that's insane, bro. Speed out here risen up a robot.
Love you.
Love you too.
I did not ask you.
Hang on, I'm texting someone.
Who are you texting?
None your goddamn business.
I think he's cheating on you.
I'm joking, it's Ellie.
Yeah, bitch. Answer my question the first time.
Yeah.
Ooh, uh-oh. You're sleeping on the couch tonight.
She's not actually my wife. She's my girlfriend, but basically my wife.
You guys live together?
No.
Not yet. No, I want to be able to wake up next to her every day.
Same.
What? What? In the nicest way possible.
I'm his
Back off a little bit, okay?
girlfriend, but, like, can I help you?
I'll give a hug.
No, I don't want a hug.
I do.
Here's a hug.
Dude, are you crying?
I've been through hell, I've been through a lot of shit, and no matter how I try to express it, it's used against me. Every fucking time.
You gotta turn that frown upside down.
Nate, fuck off.
Okay, I'll just put you in jail. It's fine.
Oh my god, I've never got that perfect! Fucking leave! The last one now! Go! We're in an important conversation here! Go! We're in an important conversation! I will block you if you don't leave. Okay, block it is.
Should have done that in the first place instead of screaming.
Bro said you gotta turn that frown upside down. When you send her a message so good that she has left you unseen for 72 plus hours and changed. Damn, bro, what the fuck? That's insane.
Sandwich, you should not use CV axle grease from a 2001 Audi S4 in between the two slices of bread. Instead, you should use peanut butter and jelly. This is because CV axle grease from a 2001 Audi S4 is not peanut butter and jelly. Share this with a friend who might find this video helpful.
Crazy. I would have never known. It saved my life. Or is this...
And again, I know I get money every time this happens, but it's...
Have you played the game Devour before?
No, I have not.
Devour these nuts.
It just sounded so fake.
And again, I know I get money every time this happens, but it's...
Have you played the game Devour before?
No, I have not.
Devour these nuts.
Devour these nuts. Scream was weak though.
Back, clan! Don't look back, clan! Don't look back! 1, 2, 3, come on! 1,
2, 3, let's go. Cook. We're cooking. Jump, boy. Jump, dummy. 1, 2, cooking. Let's get it. Right, jump. Cook. Yes, sir. Crouch. Let's go. Ah! 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 Oh my God, I can't do this. Don't turn around, Rudy. I'm scared. 3, 2, 1. I hear the footsteps behind me. I hear the freaking footsteps. Stay calm, Ruda. Stay calm, please. Why am I doing this? Why do I do this? This is not fun anymore. Ah, he's behind me. Ah! Ah! Ah!
Bro's going through it. It was the first joke of the night.
It's been a while since I could hold my head up high, and it's been a while since I first saw you.
You've been grinding in your sleep, yes sir. The pillow kept kicking out. What the fuck you mean kicking out?
Hey, no. Excuse me. Venom, that's my girlfriend. Stay the frick away from her. Muffin, don't worry. I'll protect you. Did you see that? Hey, could you do the thing? Who's a good boy? I am! Bro, can you guys mute your mics? Shut up! We're trying to do... Hey! That's my girlfriend. Don't make me hurt you. Kitten, what's wrong? Did they hurt you again? It's okay. Daddy's here. Baby, look out!
This shit is funny. GTA 6 Trump. The Hawk one was funny. This is the Hawk one? You're saying we can... Well, I don't know if this is a video or not.
And lastly, sir, we have an executive order requiring Rockstar Games to release GTA 6 in 2025 and drop a second trailer next week.
That's a big one, huh? A lot of people are waiting for this for years. For decades. And everything will be revealed. Okay?
Facts. Bro, the GOAT. For doing that.
Now, Jody, you keep telling me you keep hearing music in the night. You keep saying you see some.
I already saw this. Here goes he would take invisibility over time freezing because he likes a little resistance. take freezing time because my sister's screaming. Oh my god, bro, what the fuck? I take nothing because I like it when they see me. Yo, what? If there's no screaming, there's no creaming. What the fuck? Bro, I'm literally doing this without super. Yo, this is fucking disgusting, dog. Freeze time, time up, then unfreeze them. You get oh my god. That's insane, bro. Heard my plan died. I'm trying to smash. Alright, we're gonna pin this because I cannot keep my eyes open, bro. I'm about to die. I'm about to die, bro. Alright, Cody Roly. That's gonna be it for the stream, bro. Oh shit. Bro, it's a almost a 4-hour stream, bro. This shit long as fuck. And I didn't sleep. But I will make you a promise, bro. I will have a YouTube video uploaded tomorrow on everything. I got you. I'm gonna make a video tomorrow, upload that shit. And then I'm gonna try to do more. Should've slept instead. What you mean, bro? I needed to grind, bro. I gotta stream. It's like Friday's my off day, so that's like that should be my streaming days. So I like streaming. And we did a lot of shit this stream. Like we watched a lot of gaming shit this stream. It was kind of fire. And like talking about gaming shit. So it was a fire stream, bro. I enjoyed it. We didn't really play much games or anything, but we'll do that next time. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know. But anyways, man, I sleep at work. I don't know. Yeah, I sleep at work, bro. I think that's not a thing I can do. But I'm off till Monday, bro. You lucky, bro. Lucky. But anyways, I'll catch you next time. Hope you feel better, bro. Take medicine. And, yeah, man. I'll have a YouTube video tomorrow, so. Anyways, love y'all. Peace.